Hey everybody, welcome to this latest episode of Movies Merica. Spoiler warning. I am, as always, I am, as always, your humble host, Van Ebert, here for Movies Merica. Spoiler warning. And it's going to be The Exorcist Believer on the docket for tonight here on the Movies Merica. Spoiler warning, big premiere show. Premiering, I guess, just for tonight. So this is by no means the very first episode of this show, but hey, I'm glad you guys could join me for this, very spoiler heavy, very spoilery episode. That's the whole point of this show, is that I do a spoiler-free review of a movie back on Sunday, okay? And then the following Thursday, which is tonight, is when I get a spoiler-heavy discussion going on, not just for me, but for you, okay? And I'd love to hear from you guys so that you can join me in this spoiler-heavy discussion, okay? Because how many movies, right, have we seen where right afterwards we want to just shoot the shit with somebody about it? We want to talk in depth about the movie. Not everybody's like that. I know I am, and I'm guessing that you are, or a whole lot of you that are watching right now are, and you want to talk in depth about, in this case, The Exorcist Believer. Or in the case of The Exorcist Believer, you want to shit and dump all over it, and deservedly so. Damn right you do, because you definitely should, okay? And so, this is your forum tonight for The Exorcist Believer and all the shitting you want to do, okay? And and also, if you haven't guessed, this is not a kid-friendly show, okay? Because I like to be real. I like to talk the way that I typically talk, and that means occasionally, a naughty word might slip out, okay? And so enough about that. So the way that you can interact with me, so we can have this back and forth, in-depth, spoiler-heavy discussion about The Exorcist Believer, is you can live chat with me, okay? So you can live chat with me on Rumble, and you can live chat with me on YouTube, either or, okay? So, and if you chat with me on YouTube, then I can put your comment right down below there, so you get yourself a little moment in the sun, so to speak. You can get a little notoriety, a little famous moment there, okay? So I don't know how famous it would be, but you know what? Hey, you guys came here to talk about The Exorcist Believer, okay? So let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and get into that here, but not before I give you something to dance to.
In a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
That's right. Yeah. So, hey, welcome to all my movie maniacs, my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics. So, yes, get on in here. Get into here because mi casa, su casa, especially when it comes to shitting all over, The Exorcist Believer. So, yeah, but I probably shouldn't have put a pause between shitting and The Exorcist Believer, okay? It's like, yeah, mi casa, su casa. This is the place for you to come for shitting. No, there you go. So that's probably going to get clipped out. So good on me. I'm going to pat myself on the back up for that one. Yeah, great job. Great job, Van. And so one of the things that we're going to go over tonight is just my points about the movie, okay? And then also we are going to do the movie military moment where I salute a veteran, a Congressional Medal of Honor award receiving or award recipient veteran, to be more specific. And then I'm going to do the top 5, my top 5 demon possession movies, okay? And the Exorcist Believer will not be on that list, okay? I know it's really tough. I mean, it's hard to believe. Yep. Absolutely. So because you can't have a movie about demon possession that all too often does this.
She's gone from suck to blow.
Yeah, can't do it. So, but let's get right into the Exorcist Believer. And so, one thing about this movie that I thought was tired and has already been done even this year is when one of the little girls that gets possessed, she gets, I guess, she gets introduced into the world or the possibility, or she opens herself up to being demon possessed by engaging in this spiritual ritual, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it, of trying to communicate with her dead mother. Okay, and they do this ritual with this candle and a necklace, and I guess you have to use something that belongs to your loved one, and so then that's how she opens herself up to the demons of hell, right? So as opposed to the demons of Cleveland, I guess, but so the demons of hell. And as we all know, everybody, come on, you don't do those kind of rituals. I mean, how many movies do you have to watch to know? You don't bust out the Ouija board. Okay. Have you not seen The Exorcist, Paranormal Activity, the movie Ouija, for God's sakes? What was that one? Satan board or devil board or what the hell was that? Witch board. That's what, witch board from back in the 80s. With Tawny Katane from the Whitesnake videos and Bachelor Party. Yeah, she was in that Witcher board or Witch board. And so that was another movie about Ouija boards. Okay, so just stay away from the Ouija boards and the candle rituals. If you watched Talk to Me earlier this year, stay away from the hands that were owned by witches or sorcerers or shit like that. Just don't do it, okay? Like if you're that bored, fire up the PS5. Go touch grass is the annoying, lame, played out phrase you hear all the time. Meaning go the hell outside, right? So, go for a drive, whatever. But don't get a Ouija board, man. Come on. I mean, can we all drink to that right there? Absolutely. Yeah, no Ouijas. No Ouijas, not at all. But yeah, in this movie, that's how it starts. That's how it starts. And they do the ritual. They go missing for 3 days. Has anything else famous in history taken place within a time frame of 3 days? I can't think of any. I'm sure that's just a coincidence. Yeah. But they go missing for 3 days, and this is not the bad part of the movie. Okay, I mean, it's not the original part of the movie by any means, but you just have the two little girls, you have their parents. You first really meet the dad, right, played by Leslie Odom Jr. I think Victor is his name, and his daughter Angela, and that's really the first two characters that you meet in this movie. And then you find out, okay, well, she's got a friend named Catherine, and they're both children of like overbearing parents, helicopter parents, and so that's probably why they bond as friends. Like, oh, your mom and dad are like all over your ass all the time. Hey, mine too. Hey, there you go. And so they're friends. They sneak off into the woods. Never a good idea. Okay, all right, so don't do it. And unless you're in a movie with River Phoenix and the movie's called Stand By Me, then it's okay. But I see out of my right eye, I see the live chat here. I got my buddy Beer Drinking Trev in here, and he's got his latest coming. Oh yeah, that's right, because you've already been fucked by sitting through it. Yeah. Yeah, so he was asking me before, is this the Exorcist Believer? Was this the one where after watching it, you were required to ask the devil to fuck you? And I replied, that's the Ron Jeremy one. Yeah. So, but it's not a whole lot of love for the Exorcist Believer. Okay, you got a few outliers there that pretty much just like the movie just to be contrarians. Okay, I mean, because there's nobody in their right fucking mind that likes this movie. Okay, there's no way. I mean, the people that I've seen say they like it, surely they've seen movies like The Exorcist, The Conjuring, Nefarious, other other much better movies, Smile, and there's no way that you see The Exorcist Believer and you recall seeing those other much better movies, okay, and go, oh, you know what? I like The Exorcist Believer. The Exorcist Believer is a good movie. I like it. It's really good. No. It's these people. I mean, it'd be easy to call them stupid, but they're not stupid. They're just doing it to be contrarians, or try to be edgy or try to be profound. Hey, everyone's dumping on this movie, but I'm the lone voice that likes it. I'm right, and the other 17 billion people on the planet are all wrong. So no shortage of not dimwits, okay, just contrarians, okay. They do it for a purpose. They don't really like the movie. They're just trying to be contrarians, but I think I've belabored that point there enough, right?
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, so the Angela and Catherine, they sneak off into the woods and they do the ritual, and then that's how the demonic possession party starts. It gets started that way. But we've already seen all of that I just said, all of that to say that we've already seen the plot line where the daughter wants to talk to her dead mother. We already saw that earlier this year in Talk to Me, a much better movie than this, okay? Now, that Talk to Me almost made my top 5 demon possession list that I'm going to be going over later on, but it's not really a demon possession movie because it's more just like dead people that are stuck in limbo that possess you. They're not demons per se, so I couldn't really put them in the list. They did not qualify. Okay, they did not, and it's just too bad. It's but that movie is a pretty good movie. But other than that,
Crash and burn, huh, Mav?
yeah, crash and burn when it comes to making the top 5 demon possession movie list right there. Because again, it's not a demon that's possessing the characters in Talk to Me. Now, The Exorcist Believer, as bad as the movie was, there was enough morbid curiosity by people just from the name, The Exorcist, having the words The Exorcist in the title. It was bound to get a lot of curious people the first weekend it came out, and so it did win the box office, but not by much. Okay, it only made like 27 million this weekend, and it can lay claim to the fact that it is the highest grossing Exorcist sequel ever. Now, actually, when you adjust it for inflation, I think The Exorcist 2, The Heretic, that's like the highest grossing Exorcist sequel out there. Now, The Exorcist, the original one, by far, just kicks The Exorcist Believer's ass, along with all the other Exorcist sequels' asses when it comes to contributing to or making major bank that the first weekend right there. And you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm going to show you a video here a little later on that explains why The Exorcist, the opening weekend for that was just phenomenal. Now we don't have numbers as far as like what The Exorcist made its opening weekend, like in wide release, okay? But when you see this video that I'm going to show you here a little later on, you're going to know, like, okay, yeah, that this is not a movie that just made 27 million its first weekend. Okay, this movie was a fucking box office hit. Okay, it was nuts. Okay, it wasn't just a movie; it was a phenomenon. Okay, but the Exorcist Believer, yeah, it's going to get rightfully exorcised out of the top 5 box office this weekend when Taylor Swift's new movie comes out here, or concert movie comes out this weekend. Okay, so it's gonna give a swift kick to the ass to The Exorcist Believer, and so it'll be gone. I mean, The Exorcist Believer, it had its one weekend, and The Exorcist Believer actually originally was going to open up on Friday the 13th, October 13th, Friday the 13th, the same day that the Taylor Swift movie opens up, but it knew that it was going to get its ass kicked. Okay. And so it was like, all right, we better move our shitty Exorcist movie up a week. And because it knew what is going to happen tomorrow, was going to happen. And yeah, that's Taylor Swift's movie just beating its ass curb stomping it out of the top spot in the box office. Okay, so Beer Drinker Trev goes on to say, here's Patrick Swayze possessed Demi Moore in Ghost. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. So yeah, he was but a little less facial scarring. Demi Moore's head didn't spin around. No puking out of pea soup. Nothing like that. But the Ghost. I can't watch Ghost anymore because of just Whoopi Goldberg and just knowing what Whoopi Goldberg turned into. I mean, not that she was necessarily anything great, before Ghost, but yeah, she's just a complete fucking sap now. She's a complete fucking, just a dumbass on The View. And so I don't know if I could watch Ghost now without thinking of her, her dumbass on The View. But that was a great movie with the late great Patrick Swayze in it. Patrick Swayze gone far too soon, and just fantastic. And hey, we've got Shawnee Mac joining us on YouTube here. Good evening to you, sir. Yes, thank you for joining Movies America Spoiler Warning. We hope to hear a whole lot more from you here on the show. Good to see some new blood here in the live chat. Absolutely. So yes, Taylor Swift. Yeah, I can't stand Taylor Swift movies or music at all. I mean, I'm way too old. I'd be a little weird if I liked Taylor Swift movies, unless I had some daughters or something that would be a little weird. It'd be like you're trying to relate a little too hard to your daughters. Okay, so you can't legitimately like Taylor Swift, music at my age. Okay, but I can't deny, hey, she's very, very popular. Okay, so and people go nuts. I mean, you see those videos of like grown men in their 20s and 30s, and there's like at the Taylor Swift concert, like, you're like, oh my God. Yeah, we're seeing full evidence of the chickification of our men here in this generation, or the last couple generations or whatever. So yeah, gone is the greatest generation of men. The ones that storm the beaches of Normandy. Now we got the ones that go to Taylor Swift concerts and lose their fucking minds. But yeah, so this weekend is not going to go too well for the Exorcist Believer whatsoever. Now, this movie only cost like $30 million to make. Okay, and like I said, it debuted with a $27 million debut. Okay, last weekend. It's opening weekend at the box office, and so you would think, hey, not bad. I mean, it only costs $30 million, and it's already made $27 million. And typically, you have to make it's widely the philosophy, the perspective, the belief that's out there, that people widely believe, is that a movie has to make 2.5 times its budget, okay, in order to even break even, okay, because there's not just the production of the movie, right? The director, paying the director, paying the actors, paying the composer, the lights, the travel, all that stuff. That's the part of the production, right? Okay. You don't just have to pay for that. You also have to pay for the marketing as well, okay? And so the production, the marketing, all that stuff, that's why, because the marketing is thrown in there, that's why you have to make 2.5 times your movie's budget in order to even just break even, just to not lose money, okay? And so this had a $30 million budget, so like the math would be, it has to make, $75 million in order to be profitable, okay? So which it could, in and of itself, might. It's not impossible, right? Until you remember that, or until you realize that the studio, Universal and then Blumhouse, they actually paid $400 million for the rights to this movie, okay? Or to the Exorcist IP, the Exorcist rights, okay? And that's not for the previous movies. They're not paying the $400 million. The $400 million doesn't include the original Exorcist or any of its sequels. It's just they're paying for the right to make new Exorcist movies or make new Exorcist TV shows or whatever, right? New Exorcist action figures, like, hey, get your Regan McNeil action figures with Kung Fu grip. Yeah. So, yeah, so that's what it's made for. So it doesn't just have to make 2.5 times its budget to break even for this movie for it just to break even. They also have to pay off that $400 million, okay, that they paid. Okay, so they have to make $75 million for this movie, and then also make another $325 million on top of that in order to justify the $400 million cost. The beer drinking Trav says, how would the Swift movie compare to the Britney Spears movie Crossroads? I don't know. I mean, I know I'm just like you there, man. I'm dying to know. I mean, hell with America. The world wants to know, how will the Taylor Swift movie compare with the Britney Spears Crossroads movie? Come on. I mean, if you're breathing oxygen, you're going to want to know that. Come on. I mean, these are revolutionary musicians. These are world-changing, profound musicians that positively have changed music, I tell you. So yeah, we have to come to terms with that. That's a question that all of us are dying to find out. Hey, Unfolding Joker, welcome on in. I appreciate you joining us here this fine evening. What up to you, man, as well? And hey, he said he Rumble commented and shared. All right, put in serious work. I appreciate you having my back like that. And I want to hear from you here even more in the live chat, about the Exorcist Believer, or any other demon possession movies in general, by all means. So what else we got? Hey, we got Professor Savage Dad in here. So yep. We got, he's got some good stuff here. So Professor Savage Dad, welcome, Professor Savage Dad. Okay, or I call him PSD because I'm too lazy to say Professor Savage Dad over and over again. He says they're standard issue blondes that are all going to go nuts in their old age due to loneliness and over sexualization. Britney Spears and Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift has just managed to be more successful. So, well, yeah, and Britney Spears was pretty big, way back in the day there too. I mean, I haven't done the numbers or anything like that. So you may very well be right. I just don't give a shit enough to do the numbers. Okay, but yeah, it's Taylor Swift, pretty big time. That's for sure. So I have no idea why, but you hear the music, it's like, yeah, okay, this is music that little 13-year-old teenage girls would love. So yeah. Unfolding Joker says Lizzo changed music by adding about 1,000 pounds of lard to the stage. Yeah, love it. So yeah, Lizzo just I always say she's got to have that tuba music wherever she goes. Hey, stop it! All right, I'm going to throw a banana at you, and you don't want to know where that banana was at, okay? And you don't want to know where that banana is at when it comes to Lizzo, okay? So I think she's incubated it somewhere in. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. We've got Unfolding Joker asking, have you seen Lovely Molly or Starry-Eyed? I have not. So, man, that's those must be at least somewhat obscure right there, because I thought I had seen every demon possession movie, or actually, Unfolding Joker, this sounds actually more like porno movies than anything. So I don't know, maybe you're yanking my chain or something here. Maybe right now you're going, hey, Van fell for it. He fell for it. Those are really porno movies. Yes. And then I deserve the tuba music. Van's a dumbass. Worth to watch horror films. All right. Well, you know what? I have been so advised, so I definitely will look them up. Lovely Molly or Starry-Eyed. Making a mental note right now. So back to the Exorcist Believer. Yeah, this movie is again, like I said, it's where I was going with that is, again, $400 million they paid just for the rights to make new Exorcist stuff. Okay, and so based on the budget of this movie, like I said, $30 million earlier. Okay, and assuming that the next two movies in this trilogy that they're supposedly making, okay, and I say supposedly because after the reception to this movie, I don't know if they are. I mean, they have to, right? They have to. They paid $400 million for the rights, so they have to do what they can do to take as big a chunk out of that $400 million chunk of change that they paid for The Exorcist. So, obviously they see, that everyone pretty much like universally, again, except for some of those annoying as fuck contrarians that I was talking about before. Other than them, universally, this movie is fucking, God, is hated. Okay, I mean, I've seen airborne viruses that are hated less than The Exorcist Believer. Let me get that right. So, but even with them seeing that, they're gonna make the second and third movie. Now, obviously, if they were smart, they're going to kick the director of this movie, David Gordon Green, to the curb. Okay, and I think he's even expressed hesitancy in directing the second and third, probably because he's looked at the reaction to this, this shit show. He's like, okay, all right, I can't make an Exorcist movie any better than that. I put all my effort, my not so considerable skill into The Exorcist Believer. I thought it was pretty good, but apparently everyone thinks it's a piece of shit, rightfully so. So I am not going to be doing the second or third one. We're kind of hearing rumors, whispers that's what he's saying. So we may not even see David Gordon Green. Thank God. Hope. That, directing the second and third in this trilogy. And you just hope that they get somebody like a Scott Derrickson, maybe. This is Scott Derrickson directed The Black Phone and Sinister. Get those brothers that did Talk to Me. Get them to do the second and third, or at least the second one. Get a better known horror director, Ari Aster. He did Midsummer. I think he did Midsummer, and then Hereditary. Get them. Horror directors that have a better track record than David Gordon Green, because up until now, the only movie that has had any kind of a claim to it that a lot of people liked was his very first Halloween movie in his Halloween trilogy that he started out in 2018. And then after that, it's been a complete dumpster fire for pretty much every one of his movies. Okay. I mean, this is the guy that directed Pineapple Express and The Sitter. Come on. I mean, he's just not getting it done. Okay. So all that to say is that, they're going to have to get somebody good to direct the second and third movies to try to take as much of a bite out of that $400 million that they spent for the Exorcist IP. I mean, take as big a bite as they possibly can out of that. Okay. So again, like I was saying, assuming that the budget of the second and third movies, each of those are going to have a budget of $30 million. And the fact that, again, like I said before, a movie has to make 2.5 times its budget to break even. Okay. Each of those movies, okay, with this movie, the first one, and then each of the second and third movies, okay, they're going to have to make 2.5 times their budget plus $58 million on top of that in order to just recoup the $400 million, just to break even. Okay. So this one is going to have to make, $75 million plus $58 million on top of that. Okay. And not just this movie. The second one's going to do that. And the third one's going to do that. So good luck. Okay. So not bloody likely, sir. All right. Not a chance in hell. Okay. Let's check out our live chat here, see what we've got going on here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, old man beer drinking Trev says Tub Girl. All right. I'm guessing that's the name of another movie right there, perhaps. So, beer drinking Trev. Oh man, the things I could have done with $30 million. Hey, yes. I'd ask you to list them out here, but I don't know. Some of them might get you, landed in the same gulag, in DC that the January 6ers are in, or something like that. So I don't know. So, but hey, maybe you're just gonna go out and buy a bunch of yachts or something, or I guess one yacht there. So, right. Watch Fast 9 yesterday. Better or worse than that hot garbage? This is definitely worse than Fast 9. So it's Fast 9 compared to this actually has some redeeming value. I mean, the Fast and Furious movies are fine as long as you know what you're getting into when you go to them. I mean, just realize it's not a Coen Brothers movie, okay? It's not a Scorsese movie. It's not trying to be that. It's just trying to be big, dumb, slam bang action movies, okay, where you just gotta suspend your belief. Just unbelievable, dumb, stupid, explosive fun. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, Furious 9 still somehow managed to make 800 million. Yeah, because man, overseas they love those Furious movies, man. Obviously here in America they love them too, but not to the level that overseas, particularly like in Asia, they love the Furious movies over there. So get to the movie script to the get the movie script to the chopper to the chipper. Let me get there. Get the movie script to the chipper. American Mary is another good one you should check out. So all right, they'll make it up in DVD sales. They might. So I think with this one, though, I mean, I think this isn't even going to be a cult classic. I mean, like, say for instance, like Candyman, the good one, okay, the one from back in '93. That movie sucked. Like, well, it was good, but the box office for it, I mean, the original Candyman in '93 made what, like $7 at the box office, but it made its budget back in DVD sales. Solid media, just media you can hold in your hands, right? And streaming as well. But I think the Exorcist Believer is just so bad, and the word of mouth about this movie is just so widespread. Just the hate, the universal hate for this movie. And I say hate, and the hate is out there. It's not just people like, I just didn't really like that movie. It wasn't for me. I didn't just, it's straight up hate for this movie, because the original Exorcist is an institution. I mean, the original Exorcist isn't just a great horror movie. It's just a great overall movie, period. End of story. And it's just a part of the zeitgeist. Okay. It's part of our pop culture. And, I mean, so much so it's been spoofed so many times. It's been copied so many times. Every single demon possession movie that you see nowadays owes a debt of gratitude to The Exorcist, okay, now. And so, again, it's just this beloved movie, okay, as weird as that sounds to say about a movie about a demon possessing a little girl. It's a beloved movie, okay? It's part of Americana. It's like apple pie and baseball. Okay. And so then when you take a movie and you make what's blatantly this cheap, corporatized, manipulative, crappy, half-assed version of the original movie that is a beloved classic, it's just going to meet with venom and just pure fucking hatred. Okay, people hate this movie with the heat of 1,000 suns. They hate it, man. They hate it. Hey, you know what? I'll show you a example. Okay, so don't believe me. Okay, so I'll show you. Let's do this. All right, let's get out of that. It's going to cue this up. All right. Okay, so we're going to share this out. And I'm going to show you, because you're like, man, you're full of shit, man. What are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about, man. Okay. All right, so here we got a little video action here. So let's check this bad boy out as soon as I maximize that.
Listen, I'd be lying if I said my expectations for this were any higher than 6 feet below the floor, but that said, I was kind of excited to see how bad it'd be. Movies that end up being just a bore are one thing, but a movie that seems to be universally hated could sometimes turn out to be a silly enough time. This, unfortunately, was not that. Guys, Exorcist Believer is one of the blandest movies I've seen in the last year, a movie that barely has a pulse and that I have plenty to talk about, so let's dive in. The Exorcist Believer, directed by David Gordon Green, is a sequel to the original 19...
That's another thing is, he used a great word, bland. I mean, it is just like let's like say if you know like a sci-fi channel, you know, like you see like a lot of sci-fi movies on the sci-fi channel that are made by the sci-fi channel, and they're just so generic. They're almost like if Aldi's, the grocery store, if Aldi's opened up a movie studio and made horror movies. It's just so generic and dull and bland. It's just like someone just put shredded wheat in a bowl and didn't even add any milk to it. It's just that bland. And there's just nothing to it. Okay. It's, you know, the original Exorcist is like this exotic kind of, you know, you go to your favorite Mexican restaurant and they create this like this spicy, tantalizing, savory new dish, you know, for you to eat. It's so good. You finish it, you just want 7 more of them. You just want it. Okay, that's the original Exorcist. The Exorcist Believer is that shredded wheat with no milk, just sitting in a bowl.
1973 classic, The Exorcist. And we all love The Exorcist. Now, what's funny about Believer is that I don't think anyone who enjoys The Exorcist would enjoy this, which is an interesting position to be in. I say that because most sequels / remakes these days rely on that fandom-pleasing aspect. I only sort of enjoyed the Mario movie because I love Marios, the leg up that these films have that make up for them being pretty whatever movies. And Exorcist Believer doesn't even seem to really make an effort to appeal to fans of the original material. Like, everything that makes The Exorcist such a terrifying and unique horror movie is non-existent in this new film. All you really get are a few references in the dialogue, cameos.
Yeah, this Exorcist movie is for it's kind of like for the Cliff's Notes crowd, where you get the people that they, you know, if they made the time or they have the time to actually read the entire book, they could, but they're just so lazy that they don't want to read the entire book, so they read the Cliff's Notes version. They're just kind of, pardon me, these scatterbrain, bubble-headed kind of people that, you know, are kind of emotionally shallow or something like that. They're very basic. Okay. I guess that's, you know, that's a common term. You know, when you see somebody like, yeah, that person's kind of basic. Okay. They're all about, I'm all about the current thing. You know, those kind of people like just go with the flow and, hey, where's the crowd going? Time for me to join them. You know, like those kind of people. This is an Exorcist movie for that crowd. Okay. Where there's nothing, when you meet them and you're like, there's nothing particularly remarkable about them. You know, so that's the best way that I could think of to describe, you know, what The Exorcist Believer is in comparison to the original.
Couple Easter eggs. It's less a sequel to The Exorcist made for fans of The Exorcist and more of a movie for people who have simply heard of The Exorcist. And listen, I don't want to make it seem like this is a bad movie just because it didn't check off all the boxes for what an Exorcist sequel / remake should look like. That's a pretty shallow way of looking at the movie. No, even on its own, all Exorcist expectations aside, it's a piece of shit. The story here is that Victor Fielding, played by Leslie Odom Jr., loses his daughter Angela when she goes into the woods with her friend Catherine. When they're eventually found, they aren't exactly who they used to be, and it kicks off a bunch of strange shenanigans. That's right, we don't have just one demon girl, now we got 2. What's funny is the whole idea of there being 2 of them this time didn't really add much to the story.
That's another, you know, contrivance with this movie from the studio. The studio was like, oh, well, the original one back in 1973 only had 1. We're going to give you 2. Pow! Yeah, double the devilry, double the demons. Yes, double mint flavor for you. You know, like, it's so fucking stupid. Like, it's so manipulative and such a stupid, you know, pandering kind of thing, or just not really a pandering thing, but just a cheap trick, so to speak. Come on, studio.
Aside from a really weak plot point near the end of the movie, I mean, there was a lot they could have done with the fact that there's 2 of them, but it really just feels kind of pointless when you see the movie. There's nothing glaringly wrong with this story, by the way. It's pretty by the books for an Exorcist movie. And that said, you do kind of know exactly where it's going about 10 minutes in. Not only does every beat in this film feel completely expected, but even when the inevitable happens, it's delivered to you in the blandest, most unexciting way imaginable. Listen, if you're gonna play it this safe, at least make these moments feel somewhat shocking. Do something.
And that's, you know, the thing that's working against this Exorcist movie is when the original Exorcist came out, it reinvented horror movies. Okay. It changed all the rules. It created this whole other level. It leveled up horror movies. Okay. It gave other horror movies like this plateau that they needed to meet now. Okay. It was just something that people had never seen before. And it was just something that people had never seen before in such an extreme, visceral, frenetic way, right? Or, in a frenetic, extreme manner. And so it changed the game. It totally changed the game with horror movies. And so your horror movie was gonna have to be a lot more intense than before. Okay, gone were the days where you could be scared by Bela Lugosi playing Dracula, or Christopher Lee playing Dracula, or Lon Chaney as the Wolfman. Okay, those movies seem quaint and innocent and goofy and stupid, now compared to the horror movies that we've seen after The Exorcist came out. Okay, and changed the game. Well, I mean, 1973, 50 years ago, we've had 50 years of demon possession movies. And The Exorcist Believer, it was incumbent on it to change the game again. Okay. And it definitely does not. All it does is it just blends in with just a whole crop of other demon possession movies that were copying or stealing from the original Exorcist. Well, now The Exorcist Believer is just stealing from the original Exorcist too. So it's got that working against it. Now it could have put in a little bit more work, or a lot more work, but and actually change the game again. And if you don't have confidence that you're going to change the game with your Exorcist movie, then don't fucking make an Exorcist movie, okay? But you can't explain an intelligent point like that to greedy idiots.
Anything to throw me off. Again, it doesn't feel like the movie ever has an actual pulse to it until the final 10 minutes, which we'll get to. The thing about the original Exorcist is even if you're going into it knowing you're about to see a girl getting possessed, the film is doing a lot more than just that, giving it a really unsettling and unpredictable quality to it that keeps you fascinated and on edge. That's why even if the film is a classic and comes with a load of expectations for new viewers, it still really holds up and works on people today. It's still scary. There is nothing interesting or scary about this new film. The first hour or so specifically felt tremendously
He's got that right. Key point. This movie is not scary whatsoever. Okay. Because again, we've just seen this so many times before in this exact same way. I mean, even earlier this year, the Pope's Exorcist with Russell Crowe. I mean, that movie had all the tropes that you've seen in a million other demon possession movies, and then now this one steals all the tropes from the Pope's Exorcist, which still stole all their tropes from other demon possession movies. It's just nothing original whatsoever. And so, yeah, it's not scary whatsoever. It's just checking off boxes, going through the numbers of a demon possession movie. And I can't stand movie creators, filmmakers, where their number one goal isn't to provoke a visceral reaction, whether that's to make you cry or make you laugh or scare the shit out of you. If that is not their first priority, and you can always tell when it's not their first priority through their creation, I hate that. I can't fucking stand that. And David Gordon Green is exhibit number A of that.
Unfinished. It really brought me back to my days in film school where everyone was just kind of learning how to direct and where to put the camera, doing the absolute bare minimum, kind of just checking off boxes of like what a scene should have. Don't know if this was just my theater, but the sound mix on the dialogue was super quiet. And this is very rare for me to say, but I feel like this could have really benefited from more music. First hour of this is so quiet and not in an effective way that unsettles you. It's more like it's trying to put me to sleep. It is just some of the most unseasoned, uninteresting filmmaking of the year, and I've seen some bland stuff this year. I wouldn't say Leslie Odom Jr. gives a bad performance. He actually kind of walks away from this unscathed, but it does feel like he lacked proper directing.
I wouldn't say unscathed. Okay, I think that because his character was just so boring, just sleepwalking so much through the movie, and particularly so to me because I know Leslie Odom Jr. can have some charisma. Okay, he doesn't have to be low energy Jeb. Okay, like he is in this movie. I mean, if you saw him in Hamilton, in there as Aaron Burr, I mean, he had plenty of charisma in Hamilton. Now, I guess you kind of have to in a stage musical, right? You're not going to get away with what Leslie Odom Jr. got away with in this movie, in a stage play right there. But yeah, he's got it in him, but they make him so bland in this movie. He's just constantly brooding. That's all he does. Okay. And again, he's a big part of, just that dry, shredded wheat just sitting in a bowl, dead, lifeless, unexciting or uninspired. It's just, yeah. So no, he does not walk away from this movie unscathed.
His character really just stays on one note the entire movie, being generally upset and sad. Even when things start to properly ramp up and his daughter starts going cuckoo nutso bananas, he barely looks like he cares. He feels underutilized, which is something you can say about pretty much all of the actors here. The girls are all right. Their performances aren't ever scary, but they get the job done. In my opinion, the real dud here is, let me get this name right, Norbert Leo Butz. He really is overacting every single scene he's in, kicking trash cans, terrible fake crying. He pulls out all the hits. If you're at all on board with the film, it's his performance that makes you go, okay, this kind of sucks. Is it at least scary? Absolutely not. On top of everything else, I do think this has all of my least favorite traits of modern horror mixed into one film. It has these loud and cheap jump scares that I thought we've moved on from as a society. The kind of jump scares that just make you jump and flinch but don't actually scare you at all. You immediately brush them off your shoulder.
That's how you know a movie doesn't really know, or how a filmmaker doesn't really know how to scare you. Okay, they just rely on things like jump scares, or just overdoing it on the gore. And again, I mean, not that I have any problem with like movies being like really mega ultra gory or anything like that, as long as it serves the story, as long as it makes sense. But there's some movies out there where they're just like, yeah, let's just chop as many people in half as we possibly can. It's not really scary, but I can't think of anything that scares. I suck at writing a script. I suck at coming up with scary scenarios and shit like that. I mean, like, just like that I'm always telling myself, as far as scary scenarios, that actually I should be a film director, or at least a screenwriter right now, because I'm sure other people that are watching this, and others like in a live chat or just watching later on, you guys can probably relate to me where you guys have been walking just out in the parking lot or in your house or something like that, and a scary thought pops in your head and you're like, oh man, if I could put this scary thought in my head, like, in a movie, oh my God, what a scary horror movie I could make. And I just did that, like, just last night. I was out in a parking lot. I was like walking my dog, and just walking to the parking lot, and in the apartment complex that I live in, all the buildings have these things, these breezeways, right? Okay, so because I live in Texas, so you don't walk into an apartment building, and there's a foyer or a lobby or anything like that. Like, apartment buildings up north, there's a breezeway that you walk through. Okay. And so I'm walking through the parking lot, and I kind of look over to my right, and I'm looking down the breezeway, and at the end of the breezeway, just pure darkness. Okay. And a thought popped into my head, like, what if I was walking my dog and I just looked to my right, looked down that breezeway, saw the darkness, and all of a sudden, boom, there's like just a scary figure or something, like some scary, like, decrepit dead girl or something like that, and then you see like this dead girl, like, kind of like slowly walking down the breezeway at you, and you're like, ah, ah, ah! Like, I mean, and those are things I'm sure we've all had thoughts like that, right? You're like, oh my God, I need to like get home and write this shit down, and then I need to compile these thoughts and put them into a movie script and whatnot, and make major bank, make that $30 million, like Beer Drinking Trev was talking about earlier. Okay, so we've all had that, but believe it or not, a lot of the people that, I don't know, they don't have the mental capacity to have those thoughts or something like that. they're filmmakers. They're some of our directors in Hollywood. They don't have the capacity to come up with that. Okay. Or other ways. I mean, another one was, this is way back in the day. Okay. So I was stationed in Japan, and they had a gym there up. I was stationed in Japan. I was stationed in this part of this military base up in northern Japan called Security Hill, and they had this gym that you could work out in, obviously. And so I used to work the 12-hour shift. So I used to work with like the graveyard shift or whatever. And so by the time that I had my lunch during that shift, it was like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay. So I would always walk from the compound to this gym. Okay. And this Security Hill that I worked on, it was like on this hill where it was high up enough where you could like look down, and there was like a lake and mountains and shit, And in this particular night, there was like a full moon, okay, with the moonlight shining over this lake and like the snowy mountains and shit, You could see that, and it just kind of had this really kind of creepy look to it. And so then I walked to the gym and got in there. I was working out, whatever, got done. And inside the gym, they have the main area with all the machines and stuff, and then they have the side room where they had like exercise bikes and that kind of thing. And it was all dark because I hadn't used that room. And so I just remember thinking, like, and this kind of thought got me kind of freaked me out. But I kept on thinking, like, what if I was like just walking amongst the machines, working out and whatnot, and all of a sudden, like, just this creature, or this creepy dead person or something, just all of a sudden, like, ran out of that dark room at me, going, just chasing you and whatnot, and I was like, holy shit! And like that thought popped up. It popped into my head, And so I remember I had a little bit of my workout, to do, and I remember like just constantly like. It's like just putting weights on the barbell right there and whatnot. I'm like just constantly looking behind me. All right, there you go. Okay. Where's that rotted dead girl coming after me? Like, where's she at? So like thoughts like that. Okay. And that was like what, 25 years ago, and that still fucking sticks with me. So that's what I'm saying. Get shit like that and film it correctly, like in movies and whatnot. So, and now like I said, that was 25 years ago, so I'm sure we've seen that in a movie by now, okay, that kind of scenario. But yeah, but a lot of times, yeah, the movie directors don't have that. Now we have some movie directors that do have that, but apparently David Gordon Green, the director of The Exorcist Believer, does not.
Any creepiness the possessed girls give off is immediately taken away once the unbearably cringy demon voice comes out. It doesn't even come close to pulling off what Mercedes McCambridge was doing. I will say, though, for as corny and as dull as they eventually got, I did think the makeup on the possessed girls was pretty good. It was properly disgusting, even if it could have been grosser. That is probably the highlight of the film for me. Now that I think about it, I have to give them credit for that. Where this film really becomes the dumpster fire that it is, though, is in the...
Hey, let me just take a second here. I just want to say hi to, some people that are in the live chat there that I really want to say hi to, and I'm glad that they joined, were able to join me here. So, Dear Sarge, thanks for joining here, Agent X6. Good to see you guys in here. Who else we got? Mrs. Sarge, absolutely. Mrs. Sarge, Dear Sarge, good to see you guys in here. And I think we had Dear Sarge had some good wisdom going on in here. What did I see here? Got a real life friend heading over Saturday for my live stream. Got carried away straightening up. So that's cool. Yeah. Where is it? The best Exorcist remake had to be that one episode of Psych. Haven't seen that one yet, but you know what? I'm sure I'm going to remedy that here soon. Now that you've mentioned that right there. So to me, well, you said remake. The best Exorcist sequel in my eyes is The Exorcist 3 from back in 1990. So, yep. And Beer Drinker Trev. And what size were you in Japan? Small, medium, large, huge, or huge? Yeah. So yeah, I was actually pretty large. I was like, and I don't mean that in a positive way. I'm not trying to say like trying to give myself some kudos here. So I was fat. And I was in the military. That's not good. There. So, but hey, that's why I was working out. Unfolding Joker. You didn't know that I served. Absolutely. So, yeah. Appreciate the love, brother in arms. I didn't know you served as well, so I'm guessing you served here from what I'm reading there. So yeah, so definitely, yeah. I just wanted to make sure that I gave a good greetings to everyone joining me here tonight. So absolutely, so but yeah, dear Sarge, Mrs. Sarge, just as important. So I mean, I'm glad you guys can join me here tonight. And if you guys can't watch the whole time, hey, I hope you guys have a chance to listen. And stay safe out there on the roads and all that good stuff. Absolutely. All right. So let's continue on.
The end. It's like a fucking Marvel Avengers movie where everybody comes together and does their priest shit like it's a superpower. It's getting to a point with modern blockbusters where I'm like, what can't be ruined by this modern style of filmmaking? Why does the cameo in the second to last shot of the film feel like a new superhero showing up? What is going on here?
The cameo, of course, as we know, Linda Blair predictably shows up as Reagan at the end of this, or towards the end of this movie. Okay, so hey, like I said, everybody, spoiler warning. It's literally in the title of the show. Okay.
Entire final act of this film is like watching someone try to fit a square cube into a circular hole. The Exorcist is just simply not the kind of story that needs this kind of treatment. And on top of all of this, underneath it all is this weird, slightly conservative anti-abortion messaging, a message that feels wildly out of touch with what the original Exorcist was getting at, from my understanding. But you know what? That gets into hairy territory with not only spoilers, but also who's to say maybe I'm overreading this. If you want to get into it properly, I'm sure there's a disaster going on in the comments right now. Point is, even without that, the film is still undeniably the most boring dumpster fire out there. I cannot believe they spent $400 million securing the rights to The Exorcist just to make something so detached from what made the original material.
Yeah, you get the point. Here. So yeah, this guy wisely does not like this movie at all. Okay, so and he puts together some pretty good points in there. So, and then of course, if you want to hear more of my points as far as why I don't like it in a spoiler-free fashion, you can check out my spoiler-free review out on Rumble and YouTube as well. That's out there. You can get my points as well. So, all right. Let's break it up, everybody. Let's break it up. Okay, so we're gonna break it up with, boy, pardon me, a little beer burp. There you go. Hey, hazard of the trade, as I always say. All right, hey, let's break it up by me letting you know all about tdpn.locals.com that you see up above there. Okay, so, and tdpn.locals.com, that is where the Till Death Podcast Network posse, that's me and Ian and Sean, that's where we have all our content out there for you, okay? And so if you're like me and you get bored and you need something, tantalizing and exciting to enhance your day, well, look no further than tdpn.locals.com, all right? And you can see articles and blogs and videos all about movies and entertainment and cocktail recipes and politics and sizzling hot button topics of the day, okay? So don't miss it, okay? And you're going to get it in a format, in a fashion that you're not going to find anywhere else, okay? And again, I'm sure you've heard that elsewhere, right? People like, yeah, you're going to, our stuff is totally different than anybody else's, but, we mean it, okay? So, yeah, you're going to go to the website and be like, holy shit, honey, Van was right. I've never seen shit like this before in my life. Get over here, so don't be the one to miss out, okay? So this is definitely a reason to get FOMO. tdpn.locals.com, all right? And as you see there at the bottom right now, if you put in promo code TDPN, you get 1 month free of premium tdpn.locals.com service for you, okay? You can be one of the 1%, okay, not one of the 99%. Be one of the 1%, one of the elites, okay. One of the few, the proud, the premium TDPN members, okay. And right now we've got a new feature there called Movies Merica Mad Libs. that I created, and I'm going to go over what that's all about. A lot more in detail later on, but just harken back in your memory banks about Mad Libs back when you were a kid, right? So, and it's kind of like that. So, but again, I'll go into more detail about that. But right now, again, 1 month free TDPN, and then after that, it's just $3 a month minimum. $3. It's nothing. Okay, so I was about to say that's like a couple of items at the dollar menu at McDonald's, but here in this, Let's Go Brandon economy, that'll probably get you like one ketchup packet, at the dollar menu, one French fry at the dollar menu now. So, but unfortunately, Dems the times we live in. Thanks, Biden voters. Yeah. All right. So, hey. So, yeah, it has been TDPN, DowdLocals.com. All right. Get there now. Well, not now. After the show. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's get this going on. What shall we do next, everybody? What should we do next? You know what? Let's check out the live chat. See what we got over here. All right. Beer Jerky Trip. Spoiler alert for the spoiler-free review. He doesn't like the movie. Yeah, so there we go. Dear Search says, coffee's done brewing. I thought I smelled something. Yeah, that's good. That's good coffee. There you go. All right. I can tell you probably grind it yourself. Look at it. So coffee's done brewing. So we need to transition. Yeah, it's going to transition to lurk mode. Lurk mode engaged. Yes. $1 per fry. That fry better be the size of Lizzo's finger. Yes. We can never have enough Lizzo mentions in this show. Okay, this is the official spoiler warning show of Lizzo's worldwide. Absolutely. I was talking about the Exorcist earlier, the original Exorcist, the good Exorcist. So yeah, let me cue that up. Let's check that out. I was talking about the cultural, the emphasis, the cultural impact of the original Exorcist. Okay, and just how big a deal it was back in the day. Okay, and it is just, nowadays people still talk about it. You see the YouTube videos where people are seeing it for the very first time, and a lot of them are just it still holds up. They're still wowed by it, and that's because it's not as gory and high intensity and action packed as other demon possession movies that have come after it, decades and decades after it. Okay. But it's just got that thing. I don't know, that thing. I just can't put my fingers on it. It's got that thing, okay, about it that makes it still hold up. And it's the OG. It's the OG. What can I say? So yeah, let's hear a little bit about the original Exorcist here. And what about the original Exorcist just fuels the hate for this latest one, and what this latest one does to the legacy of the original Exorcist.
On December 26, 1973, in 24 selected engagements in the United States, William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist, directed by William Friedkin, opened. From the novel that had long been on the bestseller lists and directed by the man who had brought the French Connection to the screen, The Exorcist had long been awaited, widely speculated upon, and anxiously anticipated. But no one, no matter how close or deeply involved in the film, could possibly have anticipated what was to happen at every theater where this film played.
This is the second time we've seen it. It's terrific. As many as I can possibly go.
Man, they sure knew how to dress back then, huh? Ugh.
Love it. Try it. You'll like it. Well, we drove 100 miles, so I hope so.
Fantastic movie.
It's really
The really great thing that I like about that video? No one checking their fucking cell phones. or no one like, oh yeah, I'll get groceries. Yeah, okay. So you need eggs, and we need beer, and we need. I'm going to talk as loud as possible around the crowd, okay? And cousin Sal. Oh, he's getting these. Oh, his kid's getting circumcised. Oh yeah, okay. Oh, I can't wait. Like, none of that in this fucking video. Love it, man. Let's bring back the 70s.
Gross.
It was really terrific.
I want to see if it's going to make me throw up.
The Exorcist scored the biggest.
Yeah, so I mean, look at those lines. You didn't see lines like that for The Exorcist Believer. I mean, I guess you really don't see lines like that for any movie anymore. So it's kind of an unfair comparison, because obviously we get like reserved seating and that kind of thing nowadays. But I kind of miss those days, where, you just see lines around the block for a movie and movies. I miss those days where movies had that, like, you got to see it. Like, oh, it's this big event. Like, wow, like that kind of impact. And we make so many movies, pardon me, nowadays that they really don't have it because you have just so many other entertainment options. I mean, there's no PS5 back in 1973, or there's no streaming back in 1973. So yeah, it's a whole lot of a big different time. That is for sure here. So big different time. Really good English there, Van.
It was, of course, first evident to the theater managers that The Exorcist was no longer just the most successful motion picture in film history, but had become an unquestioned sociological phenomenon, breaking out of the theater pages and television reviewers' hands to the city desk, the front page, and hard news on telecasts from coast to coast.
I'm Harry Francis, manager of the National Theater here in Westwood. I've been in this business 40 years now, and I have never gone through anything like this. It's exciting. Public love it. Had crowds that you can't believe. We've hired 20 security guards to control the crowds. We're getting young people, old people, you name it, we get it.
Hey, they must be screaming for Taylor Swift way back then, right? Right? Probably not. Okay.
Anyone. Last week in the rain, they stood as it was the sun today. Mr. Freakin and Mr. Blatty felt sorry for the people. They hired caterers. They give out 3,000 cups of coffee each night, a total of 6,000. The public thought it was great.
My name is Randy Robbins, the assistant manager at the National Theater.
Yeah, so I mean, just standing out there in line, and then what a class move, right? A class move by William Friedkin, the director of The Exorcist, and then William Peter Blatty, who wrote The Exorcist and wrote the book The Exorcist, right there. Like, looking out for the peoples, right? Looking out for the peoples and feeling bad for them. I mean, most people are good enough, nice enough, to stand out in line to see this movie right there. You just don't see that kind of dedication for movies anymore, So I guess maybe you see people standing in line like that for like Taylor Swift tickets or something like that now, or whatever, but definitely not for movies anymore.
Really felt it was great. And sometimes even they stand in line for 5 and 7 hours. We've heard some of the people say they've been standing in line that long, and they'll come in and they won't be able to watch the whole movie because it's just too much for them, and they'll come out after about an hour, but they don't complain about standing in line.
I don't like it. I want to go home. Makes my heart beat too fast.
I don't know. It doesn't bother me that much. But I guess it bothers everyone.
Was it Santana? Wow. He just goes in the movies just like the rest of us. Wow.
Could be.
This is the second time we've seen it. We still can't hack it. No. Why? I'm not going back in there.
All the people are.
So, yeah, I doubt the Exorcist Believer had people like, fainting. You probably had plenty of people walking out of the theater, but it wasn't because I can't handle it anymore. It's so scary. It's too intense. Like, no, a lot of people walking out of the theater like, oh God, I got tricked into paying my $15 just for me, and then I had to pay another, 15, 15 bucks times 3 for my family and all that shit. Like, they're probably walking out of the theater because of that reason, like just out of pure furious fucking anger and shit. But not for the reason that these women were walking out. You know, they were just walking out just because they're like, oh my God, I can't take it anymore. Her fucking head was spinning around. Ah! Can't handle it. Cannot handle it whatsoever, you know. So, but you know, you're not gonna get that with this movie whatsoever.
Just the other night, this guy came out and I looked out the door and he was lying on the floor. He's really big. You wouldn't have expected. I know. All these big guys, they come out and they look like they're ghosts or something. And they ask for Somalian salts and everything. It's not the kind of people you'd expect to faint. Yeah.
It didn't scare me. I don't know what happened. I just fainted. It was frightening.
Okay, I guess there's the one guy that fainted. So probably Harry Sisson's grandfather there, I would guess right there. So yeah, definitely makes all the sense in the world. All right, but yeah, that's so. I just wanted to kind of give you some context, you know, about the cultural impact of the original Exorcist. I mean, it was massive. I mean, I was 2 years old at the time, but you know, but even I could feel it. I was playing with my Play-Doh and playing with my little baby toys and whatnot. And I was 2 years old and I was like, you know, rocking in my rocker or, you know, laying on the floor, watching cartoons. And even when I was 2 years old, I was like, huh? What's it? Exorcist? What is that? I don't know what that means, but I'm feeling that the cultural phenomenon of the Exorcist. I don't know, but I'm 2 years old. I can't comprehend. Oh yeah, I mean, it was that big. The cultural phenomenon was that massive. Even 2-year-old me could feel it. All right. So, you know what? Let's break it up again. What do you say here? You know, because I'm getting thirstier and thirstier as we go, and I'm sure you guys are. And hey, you know, that reminds me, hey, let me know what you guys are drinking, okay? Because again, it's almost the weekend and it's time to get into weekend mode, okay? Kind of starting to transition, kind of like Dear Sarge was talking about. He's trying to transition from, you know, the boss has got their boot on your neck, you know, 8 to 5 or 8 to 7 or whatever, you know, and trying to transition from that to, you know, it's time to kick the fuck back, all right? And have a few of these right here. So to that end, how about a little brew review time? All right. Yes. That quick intro just gets me in the mood real quick for brew review time. It doesn't take long. It does not take long. And so the brew for tonight's brew review time is Star Lager. Yeah, let me get that turned the right way. Star Lager from our friends in Nigeria. Yes. So this is a European pale ale, but it was brewed in Nigeria. Okay. So not too often I have a beer from the continent of Africa, okay, on here. But I try to get beers from all over the world, except for Poland. I don't like Poland. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, Star Lager right here, and yeah, it's just like a European pale ale. You know, it's got simple ingredients in it: water, obviously, malted barley, sorghum. It's got sucrose in it. I mean, just very basic ingredients, but it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not the best beer. And again, you're going to get total honesty from me with these brew reviews. Okay. I am no one's beer shill yet. The money's right, man. All right. If that armored truck backing up to my driveway is big enough, you know, if I hear beep, 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 beep every morning, you know, every Friday morning, you know, hey, hey, I'll shill for you. I'll tumble for you, and I'll shill for you. Beer drinker Trev. Water? I'm out. Mrs. Sarge goes, I was 16 when Exorcist came out. Everyone was scared and or sick. Exactly. And I think that video kind of illustrated that. It was a phenomenon. I mean, and it was a phenomenon in the way that a movie can't be a phenomenon nowadays, again, because we have just so many different entertainment options nowadays. But anyway, back to brew review time. Okay. Focus, man. Focus. Okay. Eyes on the prize. All right. So there you go. So yeah, Star Lager. It's pretty light beer. It's like 5.1% alcohol by volume, and you could do worse. For beer that you want to cool down those flames with. After mowing the lawn, or you're out there on the lake, in your bass boat and just trying to cool down. You could do worse. Okay, so now your friends might look at you funny if you're out there on your bass boat and it's time to cool down. Hey, buddy, pass me a cold one. Yeah, no problem, man. Here's a Star Lager. Your friends might be like, what the fuck's a Star Lager? Where's the fucking old Milwaukee? What the hell? Where's the where's the Labatt's? Star Lager, what? But once they taste it, I think they'll forgive you. Okay, so speaking of tasting it, let's get to it. Oh yeah. See, I could do beer commercials. Again, Star Lager, you crazy Nigerians, I could shill for you. Okay. All right. So your Nigerian money spends just fine here in my neck of the woods of these great United States. You bet. So hey, we got Poo Monkey. Poo Monkey in the house. Welcome, Poo Monkey. Word. There you go, Poo Monkey. Good to see you in here. And thanks for the support. And I hope to hear from you more in live chat. And talk to the family there in the live chat. I want everyone getting to know each other or reacquainted with each other. It's been a long week, everybody. Okay, so and I hope that I can provide a distraction from the long week. You bet. So and man, I'll tell you, I personally enjoyed getting to know all you guys, and getting to know them from the other shows, the other great shows here on Rumble. Okay, I got We Are the Show and Dark Side Radio with Darth Jason. Maybe we'll see Darth Jason in here a little later on. Who knows? Okay, maybe we'll see We Are the Show in here as well. But yeah, Rumble. That's another great reason to get on Rumble is you get to meet some of the coolest fucking people you'll ever get to meet. Okay, and you never know where they're from. You never know, and you get to meet all the cool, all the best people, the best down to earth people, the salt of the earth people of the world. You bet. So. All right. So yeah, a little bit more about the Exorcist Believer. Okay, and some of you might be like, "Oh God, more Exorcist Believer." Oh my God. But yeah, one thing that I mentioned before in the spoiler-free review is just how desperate this movie was to get Ellen Burstyn, who played Chris McNeil in the original, the mother in the original Exorcist. And obviously they got that because they were trying to manipulate you and me, okay, into seeing The Exorcist Believer, okay, because there might have been a whole lot of people who are like, oh, The Exorcist Believer, oh, yeah, just another Exorcist sequel. I'm not gonna go see that. Oh, Ellen Burstyn's in it, the original mother from the original movie. Oh, I'll go see it. Okay, and so that's what the movie studios were counting on, okay, and they were counting on it so much. My God, I was talking about that armored truck backing up. Beep, beep, beep. That armored truck backed up a lot to Ellen Burstyn's driveway right there because she did not want to do this movie at all. Okay, she was not interested. She had this much interest in doing this movie, and they're just coming out saying, "Hey, we'll pay more. You want what? Okay, we'll pay more." No. You got to be in this movie. We'll pay even more. Okay. How about this much? How about this much? How about this much? And they offered it just such a high price. And then her final ask was that she wanted the studio to donate a shitload of money to like some kind of acting symposium or acting scholarship or something like that, So yeah, she got paid a shitload, and then them contributing to this acting symposium to be in this movie, because she does not want to be in this movie whatsoever, and you could tell it in her performance. She does not want to be in this movie whatsoever. I mean, as bad as we don't want to be watching this movie, she doesn't want to be in the movie. Okay, but it's just a cheap ploy to get people to go check this out. And now Ellen Burstyn is a acclaimed actress. She's been in a bunch of critically acclaimed movies, legendary movies, but unfortunately for her, she took the money And now her legacy is stained as well from being in this fucking dumpster fire. Okay. So, but hey, that's on her. That's on her. And she shouldn't have done it. She shouldn't have done it. You could have just stayed away. But but she did it. And it was just a way to, it's kind of just a kind of a puppeting of us, right? In here. And again, like, earlier in the movie, she talks about never seeing her daughter Reagan and, again, or, and missing her and all that stuff. And of course, if you had more than 2 brain cells rolling around in your head, you knew what that was foreshadowing for later on in the movie. Okay. It's like, gee, I wonder if Reagan's going to show up. I don't know. And then one of the big bones of contention with this movie, another, one of the big reasons that people hate this movie is her stupid line about the patriarchy in this movie. Okay. Because I wouldn't really consider this movie that woke at all. I've seen a lot more woke movies than this. I mean, obviously it's no Barbie when it comes to the woke department, or that Candyman remake that came out a couple years ago. Those are movies that are definitely not trying to entertain you. They're trying to lecture you. Okay. With lessons from the woke. Okay. Tales from the woke crypt. Okay. That's what those movies are going for. They're not trying to entertain you. Just trying to teach you a lesson, young man and young woman. Okay. But so I wouldn't put The Exorcist Believer in that camp, though, except for, the line where she's talking to Leslie Odom Jr. and she mentions that she wasn't in the room to witness the exorcism, per se. And then he asks her, like, why weren't you in the room? And then she utters the stupid line, well, in my opinion, they didn't want me because I'm not part of their damn patriarchy. Like, totally disrespecting the memories of the 2 priests that actually gave their lives to save her daughter. Okay. I mean, these guys deserve more of your respect.
The patriarchy compels you.
Yeah, let's
compels you. The patriarchy 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 compels you.
Yeah, that's what apparently she thought was going on in the room right there. And I mean, like I said, they both gave their lives for her daughter, and she's going to disrespect them like that. And that just shows that we're dealing with some dumb writers here. Okay. And the dumb writers of this movie, they're obviously those kind of people that kind of look at everything through the lens of woke. Okay. That's the prism that they see everything through, is wokeness. And they think that they're part of a generation that is the most enlightened and the wisest generation that's ever lived in the history of the world. Okay. Of all human civilization, we live in the most enlightened, wise times, the most intellectually stimulated time of all of human history. And everyone in the history of the world would be so lucky to live in the same times as all of the wokesters today. That's how a lot of people think nowadays, including obviously these writers. And that's the spectrum, the prism that they look at. And so when that's the spectrum you look at everything through, then yes, you're going to write stupid fucking lines like the patriarchy line there and disrespect these guys.
It compels you. The patriarchy compels you.
Again, those 2 guys, those two characters, I should say, in a movie, they gave their lives for her daughter, but it just shows that these writers don't really recognize that about the original movie. I mean, do they even? I mean, I'm sure they've seen the original movie, but do they really grasp the original movie? Or maybe they do, and they just don't like that part of the movie. They think that movie just doesn't have enough woke in it. It's not enlightened enough. William Peter Blatty wasn't privileged enough to have their presence there with him to add their wisdom, their genius to his script or something like that. Just the hubris on the parts of these writers, just it's just amazing. Just amazing. Okay. All right. So I am going to take this time to tell you all about a great product. Okay. All right. While I'm thinking about it, because I want to do you a solid, and I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't let you know about Nature Clear Recovery Powder. And what is Nature Clear Recovery Powder? Well, it's in the name, recovery. It's a powder that you can use to recover or just outright even avoid a hangover, okay? To avoid hell on earth from drinking too much, okay? And so what you do is, you just chug, a bottle of water with the Nature Clear in here. And as you can see, it comes in these handy Nature Clear packets. You just dump this in like 12 ounces of water or your average bottle of water, okay? And then you can add something like lemon lime Mio in there to, up the taste level there as well. And you just drink that before you go out and clubbing for the night or hanging out with your bros in a beer patio or something like that. Or whatever. You're hitting the road and you're going on a little road trip. You're going on a fishing trip and you're drinking with your buddies or something like that. And you don't have to worry about a hangover. Grab yourself some Nature Clear and chug that, okay, before you go out there and do all of that, okay? But, hey, no fear. If you get out there and you're in the bass boat, you've had too many star loggers, and, you're starting to feel it a little bit, okay? Well, you don't have to freak the fuck out, okay? All you have to do is just take this when you get home, and you're good to go, okay? So, and it also helps you recover from smoking and vaping, all right? So it's basically the Swiss Army knife of recovery, okay? Those guys at the guys and gals at Nature Clear, man, they're always thinking of everything for you, okay? And so by now, I'm sure you're screaming at the screen, go, Van, just tell us how we can get this Nature Clear. It sounds so awesome. Well, that's a good thought that you're having right there. And the answer to your question is go down to the description and click on the Nature Clear link down in the description, okay? And then pick out all the Nature Clear products you want that your heart desires, okay? And then get it into the shopping cart. And then when you're in the shopping cart, put in the promo code MOVIES, okay? And you are going to get up to 25% off your next order, okay? Pretty fucking great, huh? Yeah, do it. All right, so get out there, get yourself some Nature Clear Recovery Powder. Do it right now. All right. What do we got here? Oh, yes, we got some lurkers. And again, hey, to the lurkers that can do it, okay? The lurkers that aren't driving or something like that, or the lurkers that aren't playing Jenga and you can't really break your concentration, or you're transporting nitroglycerin or someone, unless you're one of those people. Yeah, stop the lurking and get in the live chat, all right? So in Rumble, you just got to, click on the chat feature right there. So here, I'm on Rumble myself. Here, let me get in there. Just click on the live chat there in Rumble and just, right where it says your message here, just live chat. Just put a message in here. You know what? All you got to do is say hi. That's it. If that's all you live chat, that's perfectly fine. Hi, or just put in there, hey, what's your favorite demon possession movie? Okay, or your favorite horror movie. That's perfectly fine. Something as simple as that. You don't have to keep on live chatting all night long or anything like that. So yeah, just something nice and simple like that. Hey, you're more than welcome to mix it up and live chat with everybody, okay? Because it's fun. It's a good time. And you can live chat through YouTube as well. But Rumble is a cool place to watch my show at. Okay, so Rumble, again, as I always say, Rumble is that house on a Halloween, that gives out the full-size candy bars and has the fucking cool-ass Halloween scary tunes playing, and the scary creature, the cool dad, in the cool-ass Halloween, the Dracula costume popping out from around the bushes. Just the greatest house to trick-or-treat at. That's Rumble, the cool house to trick-or-treat at, okay? YouTube, no. YouTube is that lame house that gives you dental floss when you go trick-or-treating there. So, yeah, so that's YouTube. Don't go to that house. Come to YouTube, okay? So, absolutely. And, again, while I'm thinking about it, yeah, so The Exorcist Believer, now I didn't just review it because it's like, the biggest release, I'd say, this last week. I'm reviewing it because that's part of the Horror House series this week, or this month right here. The Horror House series for Halloween month, okay? And I'm going to be reviewing another scary movie next week, which is going to be Dr. Sleep, okay? The sequel to The Shining. I'm going to be doing that. That's a movie that, unfortunately, is all too little seen by people, okay? Not enough people by far have seen Dr. Sleep, and it's a great movie. I know I'm kind of giving it away as far as how I feel about Dr. Sleep, but that'll be the scary movie, the horror movie for this next week. So I'll have my spoiler-free review for Dr. Sleep coming out this Sunday, and then this episode, Movies Merica Spoiler Warning, will be all about Dr. Sleep next week. Now, the episode for Dr. Sleep, that's going to be a pre-recorded episode because I'm going to have to I'm going to be traveling that Thursday back up to Iowa there for a wedding. So, but you don't care about that. Anyway, so that's going to be a pre-recorded episode, but an episode all the same, all about Dr. Sleep. Okay. So enough about that. And so that was Nature Clear. And you know what? Hey, people, I think it's time for my favorite segment of every Movies Merica spoiler warning episode. Okay. And that's when I get a chance to show some love, or I show some honor, show a tribute to our fighting men and women. Okay. Our military men and women. All right. So like Dear Sarge and Unfolding Joker, I believe they've served, and others. And if I'm leaving you out in the live chat, I apologize in advance as to those who have served. If you served, put a salute in the live chat, and I will acknowledge you guys as well. But this is Movie Military Moment time. Okay, that's the name of the segment, the Movie Military Moment. And just in case you're a newbie and you haven't watched any of these episodes before, you might be asking, what is the Movie Military Moment there, Van? Well, I am going to tell you. The Movie Military Moment is when I just pay tribute to a military member that has been awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, okay? And so as you would imagine, what would somebody have to do in order to be awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor? Well, it's going to have to be something pretty remarkable, okay? Pretty, like, just balls out, fucking amazing to see with your eyes. Okay, and amazing is probably not the right word, but just intense, right? Something that if you saw it in a movie, it would be a hell of a moment to behold. Your eyes would be bugging out here like, oh my God, what am I watching? Wow, And so that's why I call it the Movie Military Moment, okay? So we are going to get into the Movie Military Moment, shall we? Shall we get into it? So this episodes, or this Movie Military Moment, is dedicated to one Captain J. Vargas, who fought for us in the Vietnam War, okay? And so Captain Vargas, he deserves his own music for his Movie Military Moment. So with that, let's rock and roll. This is the Movie Military Moment, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And again, this Movie Military Moment is dedicated to Captain J.R. Vargas. And he served in Vietnam, specifically in Dai Do in the Quang Tri Province, Republic of Vietnam again. Let's read more about Captain J.R. Vargas, shall we? Let's see what he did to earn the Congressional Medal of Honor. For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty while serving as commanding officer, Company G, in action against enemy forces from 30 April to 2nd May 1968. On 1st May 1968, though suffering from wounds he had incurred while relocating his unit under heavy enemy fire the preceding day, Major Vargas combined Company G with 2 other companies and led his men in an attack on the fortified village of Dowd. Exercising expert leadership, he maneuvered his Marines across 700 meters of open rice paddy while under intense enemy mortar, rocket, and artillery fire, and obtained a foothold in 2 hedgerows on the enemy perimeter, only to have elements of his company become pinned down by the intense enemy fire. Leading his reserve platoon to the aid of his beleaguered men, Major Vargas inspired his men to renew their relentless advance while destroying a number of enemy bunkers. Again, wounded by grenade fragments, he refused aid as he moved about the hazardous area, reorganizing his unit into a strong defensive perimeter at the edge of the village. Shortly after the objective was secured, the enemy commenced a series of counterattacks and probes, which lasted throughout the night, but were unsuccessful as the gallant defenders of Company G stood firm in their hard-won enclave. Reinforcing the following morning, the Marines launched a renewed assault to Dowd on the village of Tindaho, to which the enemy retaliated with a massive counterattack, resulting in hand-to-hand combat. Major Vargas remained in the open, encouraging and rendering assistance to his Marines when he was hit for a 3rd time in the 3-day battle. Observing his battalion commander sustain a serious wound, he disregarded his excruciating pain, crossed the fire-swept area, and carried his commander to a covered position, then resumed supervising and encouraging his men, while simultaneously assisting in organizing the battalion's perimeter defense. His gallant actions uphold the highest traditions of the Marine Corps and the U.S. Naval Service. And again, we salute you, Captain J.R. Vargas, for all you did for this country, to be awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor and to be our recipient, our honoree of this movie military moment. Thank you very much. And we thank you, your family as well, your family and friends. So, Captain Vargas, again, that's for you. All right. Hope you guys all enjoyed that. Again, that's my favorite segment of every Movies America spoiler warning episode. And hey, we've got tacos and beer in here. So, yes. The Exorcist was a hot mess of DEI nonsense that used the Exorcist name to get sales. They should have named it The Exorcism of Whatever and left shit alone. Tacos and beer, you got that right. That's an excellent take right there. An intellectually enhanced take. So, yeah, just if you're not going to bother being a demon possession movie that reinvented the genre or just established the excellent rules of the demon possession movie game like the original Exorcist did, then don't fucking bother. If you're just going to blend in, in a very boring way with the rest of the demon possession movies that actually copied the original Exorcist, don't bother. Don't bother. Okay, this movie should have never been made, and I rightfully groaned, as many others did, when this Exorcism trilogy was even announced. And I will admit, I was rooting for it to suck. Now, right before I went into the theater, I was hoping I was wrong, because who wants to sit through a 90-minute shit show, right? I would have been more than happy to be surprised that this movie was fantastic. Okay, if I had to walk out of that theater with egg on my face, with pea soup puke on my face from embarrassment that I was so wrong about how good this movie was, I would have been perfectly happy to be that schmuck. Okay, but you know what? I wasn't, because this movie fucking sucks. Tacos and beer, you got that damn right. Okay, and hey, and let me remind you guys, hey, if you're in the live chat, go ahead, and if you're appreciating what you're hearing, and you want to show a little support for moi, okay, if you want to help finance, what I'm doing here, show a little appreciation. Yeah, you just got to, do or provide or give me what we call a Rumble rant. Okay, a Rumble rant is where you can pay a little moolah. All right, to me. That was not the world's smallest violin. That was moolah. There you go, moolah. Yeah, clams. Okay. the money, the kind of money that folds. Okay. So a rumble rant, you just give me a rumble rant. And how do you give a rumble rant? Well, down there where you type in your live chat message, there's the $ button. You just got to click on that. And then if this is the first time you're, giving me a rumble rant, then yeah, it's going to ask you for your bank information or your credit card information. And don't worry about it. I mean, I do it myself. I give rumble rants to other shows as well. Haven't been hacked yet. Okay, I haven't got any notices that someone's bought a grand piano in Bulgaria with my credit card information or something like that. So right there. But yeah, so you just fill in your bank information, your credit card information, whatever, and then you can throw me $1 or $2 or 10 or 50 or 50 million if you want. That's perfectly fine. Use that 0 key as much as you freaking want. Put like a non-zero number and then just hit that 0 key with a rumble rant. So appreciate it ahead of time. All right. So, all right. That's been my rumble rant. Okay. All right. Hey, you know what? I teased it before because I'm such a tease. Okay. And I teased you all about the fact that I am going to go over what I consider my top 5 demon possession movies. All right. And you know what? Hey, why not get into it? Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. And so we're going to go down from number 5 down to number 1. All right. So let's get right into the top 5 demon possession movies, shall we? Starting with number 5, Nefarious. Yes, Nefarious is probably the newest kid on the block, I believe, in this top 5 right here. And the reason that I put it in my top 5 is not because it's gory, not because there's a bunch of blood and guts, because this does not have any of that whatsoever in this movie. Now it's rated R, but that Hollywood only rated it rated R because they were trying to. That's one of the many ways that they were trying to dissuade moviegoers from seeing this movie, Nefarious. Okay, but it's got no gore, no blood or anything like that. But you might hear that go, well, I don't want to watch this movie then. What the hell? Well, I want some gore. I want some blood in my demon possession movie. What the hell? Nope, this movie doesn't need it. Okay, this movie is fucking phenomenal without it because it doesn't use those things it doesn't rely on those things to scare you and really make you think. And that's the reason that it's in the movie. I guess that's the best thing I could say as far as why it's in my top 5 is because it makes you think. Okay. It unnerves you, it scares you, but it makes you think. And it stars Sean Patrick Flanery from the Boondock Saints movies. That's probably what that's most definitely what he's most known for. And then it's also got Jordan Belfi, and he plays a psychiatrist. And this is Jordan Belfi's probably his most famous role is where he was in Entourage, the TV series, the HBO TV series Entourage. And he played Ari Gold's nemesis at the talent agency there. I forget what his name was in Entourage, but that was probably the thing that I knew him the most for. But again, he plays a psychiatrist in this. But yeah, his name is Jordan Belfi. Again, we're looking at Sean Patrick Flanery here. And Sean Patrick Flanery, he plays not Edward James Olmos. He plays Edward. We're going to call him Edward. That's his character's name. He plays a death row inmate named Edward, and he claims that he is possessed by the demon Nefarious, hence the title of the movie. And then he's telling that to Dr. James Martin, who again is played by Jordan Belfi, and Dr. Martin is there to give an assessment of Edward, an insanity versus insanity assessment, because this day is the day that Edward is about to be executed, okay, for multiple murders. And so Dr. Martin is brought in to see if he's insane or sane. And if he's insane, he can't be executed. If he's sane, obviously, he can be executed, okay? And so Dr. Martin, quickly realizes, oh, hey, this Edward guy, he's telling me that he's demon possessed, or that he is. He basically, it's not really demon. I guess he is demon possessed, but Edward's like, he doesn't introduce himself as Edward. He introduces himself as, hey, I'm Nefarious, okay? So, but he switches back and forth between Nefarious and Edward, okay? And when he's Edward, he's like this sobbing, pathetic, sorry, example of a man. He's just like this sad sap, and I'm possessed by nefarious, and I don't want to die. Please save me. Just this blubbering mess. That's Edward. And then when Nefarious shows up, and Nefarious like this very calm, confident, assertive, character. And so that's the picture that you're seeing here is basically him as Nefarious. And so as Dr. Martin is interviewing Edward to gauge his insanity or sanity level, then, Nefarious is explaining to him, how demons can take over a person, not just immediately. Okay. It's not like a light switch. Okay. He's explaining like not just how himself as a demon, Nefarious, not just one demon possesses somebody, but there's like a world of demons all over the world. Okay. There's just millions and millions of demons out there. Okay. Possessing people. And the way that they get to you is even when you're a child. Okay, they start the process of eventually possessing you, and they don't possess everybody. But if they're going to possess you, if they're going, you have to meet a certain threshold of yeses and nos in your life in order to be a vessel for demon possession. And so they say, Nefarious explains, like, well, they'll start with you as early as when you're a child. And they'll give you a series of yeses or nos where you can say, hey, yes, I will steal that toy from that other child. Yes, I will kill that animal just out of pure cruelty when I'm a teenager. Yes, I will sexually assault this girl, as opposed to no, I will not. Yes, I will rob that bank. Yes, I will get drunk and kill some poor family in a drinking and driving accident. Like all these series of yeses to you doing depraved shit. And the more of those depraved things you do, the more sinning you do, you're getting closer and closer to being demon possessed. And this Edward guy apparently was a real piece of shit. Okay. And so he answered yes to a lot of these scenarios, and then he just was ripe for the picking to be demon possessed. And so Nefarious said, hey, you know what? Edward opened himself to being demon possessed. I'm the demon that possessed him, and I made him go out there and murder, become a mass murderer and perform all these, or just have all these disgusting, depraved, bloody murders. And Edward didn't do it. It was me as Nefarious possessing him. So now, because of my actions as a demon, now Edward, because he was evil enough to open himself to demon possession, now he is going to pay the price for the murders that he didn't commit, but as that I committed as Nefarious. And Nefarious goes further into explaining how dark the world is, and how the more enlightened that the people of this world think that they are, really the dumber they are. Okay. And he goes to explain, like, reading levels with kids are at the all-time low. We've never had so many slaves as we've had in human history as we do now. And a great number of them are sex slaves. And go look this shit up yourselves. Like, don't take this movie character's word for it. Look that shit up. Like, like you can literally look up and realize, fuck, we got a lot more slaves in the world now, or we have the most slavery in the world now than we did, back even, in the 19th century, when that's the time where slavery was more famous, right? Talk about slaves here in America, slaves over in the old world before America was even, discovered. Like, and again, like you said, the reading levels are so low, church attendance is down. And so it's things like that this movie makes you think about. And it's a movie where you're hearing these facts, and it makes you, if you're even the least bit intellectually curious, it's going to make you want to go and research these things on your own, because you shouldn't take a movie's word for it, right? You should go out there and do your own research, be a critical thinker. And so that's what I like about this movie. And it's very suspenseful. and it's based on a book by Steve Dace called A Nefarious Plot. And Steve Dace, he has a show called The Steve Dace Show on Blaze TV, and you can watch it in Rumble and YouTube as well. You should definitely check that out because he's got a lot of great lessons and whatnot. But the Steve Dace Show, check that out. But Steve Dace wrote the book that this movie is based off of, and he didn't write this movie, but he's a producer on the movie. But it was, Sean Patrick Flannery does a great job on it. Jordan Belfi is fantastic in it, and it definitely kind of has like a Christopher Nolan feel to it. If Christopher Nolan didn't have the budget that he typically has to it, and so so it's a fantastic movie. Go check it out. It's out on streaming right now on demand. You can get it on hard copy as well. I've got the hard copy of it. I always recommend to people get a hard copy. Okay, get physical media of movies. Go and check that out. So, all right, we're gonna move on down to number 4, everybody. And what could number 4 be? Whoa, what could that be? What the hell is it? Well, hey, that's Paranormal Activity, everybody. Paranormal Activity, and this is a movie that took the nation by storm back in 2007, I believe, is when it was, and this is a kind of like a found footage movie. Not kind of, it is a found footage movie that, like the Blair Witch Project. Okay, the Blair Witch Project is like one of the first, if not the first, kind of found footage movies, and Paranormal Activity kind of gives it a kind of a cool new spin to the found footage movie genre, where it's all about this couple that moves into this condo or apartment, whatever. It's like a modern condo or apartment. It's not at all like some old Victorian haunted house or anything like that. And so it's doesn't have the Victorian scary haunted house to count on to add to the scares. So it could be like a condo or apartment that you or I live in or something like that, a modern day scenario. It's a modern day setting for this movie. And so the boyfriend in this movie, I guess he's aware that his girlfriend has this history of spirits kind of affecting her and it following her throughout her life. They talk to her and they make her do kind of weird things, and nothing murderous, nothing earth-shattering or anything like that. But she just has a spirit that she's had to deal with since, I think the movie says, like, since she was 8 years old. And so they move into this apartment or whatever, and so he buys this camera to set up in their bedroom to record them sleeping every night, and then he's got like this audio equipment to pick up any, like, even the most microscopic noises that occur. And so the big thing about this movie is that you see the video footage that is being filmed of their bedroom and them sleeping all night long. Okay. And then he also films them, around the place, during the day. And they even get like a cultist or a behaviorist, if that's even a thing, somebody that knows about the occult and spirits and that kind of thing, shows up in the movie and is giving them some knowledge about spirits and demon possession and hauntings and that kind of thing. And so that's the big part of the premise, is that it's this footage recorded by this guy as he's going around and basically documenting this weird phenomenon that's been going on where they live. And they even have a part in the movie where they have like this spiritual expert. He shows up and he's literally, you can tell he senses some evil in this place. Okay. Because he's like, okay, I cannot be here right now. I cannot help you right now. But I will call you guys in a few days. Here's the number for somebody else. I'm just getting the fuck out of here. Okay. And so this movie just has, it does have a lot of jump scares, but they're well-earned jump scares. Okay. And it doesn't really have a soundtrack, if at all. It's just this very low budget, but don't take low budget to mean like low entertainment. Okay. No, It's very entertaining, very unnerving. You'll definitely, it's one of those movies, and a sign of a good movie, sign of a good horror movie is like if you're like looking behind you while you're watching it, or afterwards, or if you're like, I think I'm going to be sleeping with a light on tonight. I think I'm going to be keeping that TV on all night long. If a scary movie evokes that kind of reaction out of you, thumbs up to you. Great job on that movie. But as I'm not going to spoil the movie, I'm not going to spoil any of the movies in this top 5 here. But as you would imagine, things get worse and worse and worse in this movie as things go along, and you're really going to really hate the boyfriend in this movie because he does a lot of stupid shit, okay, that just kind of egg on the evil spirit or spirits, okay, and the girlfriend, she gets pissed off at him throughout the movie, and you're like, damn right, you should be pissed off, girlfriend. Like, what the hell? Like, what an idiot your boyfriend is. And so Paranormal Activity, check it out. Came out, I think, in 2007. It's not going to take up too much of your time. But yeah, it's a nice, just kind of short, not abbreviated. It's like a 90-minute movie. Nefarious is the same way. Nefarious is nice and short as well. All right, let's keep the train moving here on the old top 5 demon possession movies, in my opinion. And we're going to move on down to number 3. What can number 3 be? Whoa, what is that? What is that? Well, hey, that is the main evil character in Sinister. Yeah, Sinister, that came out like 13 years ago, starring Ethan Hawke in this. And Ethan Hawke would also star in another movie called The Black Phone, directed by the same director as Sinister. The director's name is Scott Derrickson. And Scott Derrickson directed the one good Doctor Strange movie, the first one, okay? But this is Sinister, and I forget this evil spirit's name in here. Like, I think it's like Bagoo or Baguzu or something like that. It's not Boo Boo, okay? It's not that, okay? So yeah, Bagur or Bagoo or something like that. So someone in live chat, correct me. Correct this guy with the bad memory right here, okay? The character here, but Bagoo or Bagur or something like that, or Babababagoo. But so Sinister is all about Ethan Hawke plays this character. He's an author, okay? And he's an author that writes books about famous murders. And he moves to this town after, I guess, he can't afford the big mansion that they lived in, okay? Because apparently he wrote a good enough book, a popular enough book, a best-selling book enough to where he could live in this mansion. But things haven't been going so great. Sales haven't been going so great, so he had to move out of the mansion. And he found out about this house that belonged to this family that was just, grotesquely murdered. And so his morbid curiosity and complete disregard for his wife and kids compelled him to move into this house where this grotesque, this gruesome murder happened with this family for research, okay, for his next book. And so he now he's also written other books about mass murderers and that kind of thing. I don't know where my mind was going with that, but anyway, so he's well aware of this family being murdered in this house that he's just moved his family into, unbeknownst to his wife and kids. Okay, so he, as you find out in this movie, his wife doesn't know, okay, that this house was occupied by this family that was murdered. Okay, and that's as close to a spoiler I'm going to give to this movie. Okay, so I say that just to illustrate to you what an asshole Ethan Hawke is in this movie. Okay, and so moving into this house, he starts realizing some phenomenon in this, or noticing some weird phenomenon going on in this movie. If I remember correctly, because it's been a while since it's in this movie. If I remember correctly, the phenomenon doesn't really pick up until he discovers like this old footage, like on these old film projector reels. Okay, and he starts watching these movies, these old movies on the film projector. and he starts realizing, holy shit, these are movies, these are films of people being killed, or these families being killed. And when he's watching these films, it's like, it's jarring, it's just shocking. He's like, oh my God. And so in these films, right after they show the family's being murdered, then the movie stops. Okay, the film stops. And so the more and more he watches these movies, the more and more evil phenomenon that he sees in this house that he's moved his family into. And one of the phenomenon that he sees is his son starts experiencing like really, really bad night terrors, and it seems like he's possessed. And his daughter starts doing crazy shit. Okay. And so the movie's pretty much all about that, and him learning more and more about the character you see here on screen, and how these families were murdered. And just a really fantastic movie at just slowly but surely building up the tension and just giving you the willies. Okay. You just get that cold going down your spine. Another movie where you're just be looking behind you the whole time you're watching this movie. So Sinister's fantastic. It's got Vincent D'Onofrio in it. Vincent D'Onofrio, you might know him best as Gomer Pyle from Full Metal Jacket, or he's like plays with the villain in Daredevil. I can't remember what his villain's name is in Daredevil, but Vincent D'Onofrio is in this movie as well. The late Fred Thompson, who was I believe a senator or congressman as well. Before Fred Thompson, he was in Die Hard 2, Die Harder, and No Way Out, and a bunch of movies. But anyway, I digress. But Kingpin, thank you, Agent X6. Thank you, Kingpin. That's who Vincent D'Onofrio plays I believe it's Daredevil, the Daredevil TV series, and maybe a movie here. Anyway, all right. So that has been Sinister. All right, moving on to number 2, but not before I get another drinky here. Ooh, yeah. That beer is definitely not Sinister. That's good stuff. Good stuff. Agent X6, helping a brother out. I appreciate that, man. All right, we're on to number 2, and this is The Conjuring. Yeah, this deserves to be number 2 here. I mean, this is just a fantastic movie, and obviously there are Conjuring sequels, and I like The Conjuring 2 as well, but I wasn't going to put more than one Conjuring movie in my top 5. And yeah, so this is a movie about a family that moves into a house back in the 70s, I believe. It was like the early 70s. And it also, so it's about the family moving into this house. It's like a husband, wife, and a bunch of kids. And then we also have with Ed and Lorraine, God, I forget what their last names are in this movie, but Ed and Lorraine, they are like, he's a pastor, I believe. He's a reverend. And then she is like, she's somebody who can feel the spirit world. Okay. She's very attuned to spirits, meaning demons, dead loved ones, that kind of thing. She picks up on that. She can see evil acts that happened, obviously in the past and that kind of thing. And so there's Ed and Lorraine, and then we got the family there as well. And so again, it starts off with them moving into a house, and they start experiencing phenomenon. And their first sign that they should have left this house is when they're first moving in. They're moving the boxes into the house and whatnot. And they have a family dog. Pardon me. They have a family dog. And their first sign of trouble is their family dog refuses to go into this house. Okay. They're trying to get this dog in this house, and this dog's like, fuck no. I ain't going in the house. I ain't going. All right. So, well, their dog's not Scooby, but Ed and Lorraine Warren. Thank you, Agent X6, man. I'll tell you, you got my back tonight. I appreciate that. Were real, and they were real people too. Yep, you are absolutely right. This is partially. This is based on a true story. Okay, And so Ed and Lorraine Warren, they're the I'd say that they're the two main characters in this movie, because in the Conjuring sequels, the families they help out are basically they change with every movie, okay, pretty much. But yeah, so this family moves in the house, dark phenomenon starts happening, okay. The like the girls are sleeping in their bedroom, and you start seeing things like you see the sheets like being pulled off of them, or little girls are like feel a spirit like pulling on their leg as they're sleeping. They play, hide and seek, in the house, and they do, to play the hide and seek game where, you clap a couple times to kind of give a clue to whoever's trying to find you where you're at. You get 3 claps or something like that. And so they're playing that game, and they have like phenomenon where the mother's playing this game with her kid, one of their daughters, and the mother's like, okay, final clap, the final clap to help her mom find her, discover where she's at. So she hears the final clap, and it sounds like it's coming from this wardrobe, this closed wardrobe in the bedroom. And so the mother opens up the wardrobe, and she starts like, she's about to kind of reach into the wardrobe, and hey, there you are, I found you. And the daughter that she's playing this game with is, hey, mommy, like from behind her. And the daughter's like, oh, I was over in Lorraine's room or something. It's some other room in the house. And so the mom's like freaked out, like, what the what? Who clapped from inside the wardrobe? What the fuck, And so she goes to reach inside the wardrobe, and there's nobody there. All right, so scary stuff. And Agent X6, he knows what I'm talking about. So he said he recently got the Conjuring movie set on Blu-ray. Top notch, and you were right. Good stuff. So yeah, so you obviously you're not going to be sorry, or maybe you've already watched them and you're already not sorry. Yeah, good. You said good stuff, so I'm assuming you've seen them all so far, and you're supposed to come out with a 4th one here, so and can't wait for that. But yeah, so phenomenon like that, okay, and eventually it just gets so bad that that the wife, the mother, finds Lorraine and just says, please. Or finds Ed and Lorraine and just begs them to come to their house and help them out, okay? And they do, being the good people that they are, Ed and Lorraine, the good people that they are, they do eventually, agree to go to the house, and they start interviewing the family and checking out evidence and that kind of thing. And when Lorraine gets there, she can sense death, okay? She can sense the evil. She can sense the murders that happen there, that and just the evil entity that's lurking in the house. And of course she's like, Ed, there's evil here, there's evil happen here, we have to help this family, okay? And so Ed and Lorraine, they have a team of that helps them out with trying to exorcise the demons out of the house, and they have their own their team to help them out with that. So it's kind of like the team in Poltergeist, right? You had the little old lady coming in, and I feel some dark forces in this house. I'm here to help you out. Okay, but there's no little midget lady in this movie, so to go through here. But yeah, so they move in and they start experiencing, the phenomenon of the movie and that kind of thing, or of the entities and that. And it just, it gets fantastic. It's just fantastic, happenings in the movie. And it's just, the suspense is just ratcheted up and up and up. And just the sights and sounds that you hear, and there's some good jump scares in this movie, but they're well earned jump scares, okay? And the character development in this is just so great, so fantastic, that you really care about this family, okay? You really care about Ed and Lorraine. You don't want anything to happen to them, but like the Exorcist Believer, I couldn't give a fuck about what happens to anybody in this movie. I don't care, because they don't develop the characters enough. All right. So, but in The Conjuring, they do. They really endear you to these characters, And so even the person or persons that become demon possessed, you really want them to break out of it. You want them to be exorcised. You want them to be rejoined to their family. You don't want them to die. Okay. And so in addition to being scared out of your fucking mind, you're really concerned. Like, I want them to live. I want them to get better, And so that's something that's missing from a lot of horror movies nowadays, especially The Exorcist Believer. Okay. But The Conjuring, yeah, check it out. It's fantastic. And it's spawned. This is like the first, obviously, because they have now what they call the Conjuring universe, okay, where you got movies like Annabelle and the Nun movies, okay. And this movie, The Conjuring, that's number 2 on my list here. It was the OG, the grand entrance to the Conjuring universe. So absolutely, yeah. So Agent X6 is creepy, paranormal type stuff, makes for good movies. And he doesn't like the ultra gore type, and that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, exactly. So there's some movies where they just rely on ultra gore, and it's no. The gore, it could be the goriest movie I've ever seen. As long as it serves the story, I'm fine with it. But there's plenty of movies where there's not a whole lot of gore, like Nefarious I talked about before. Nefarious has zero gore in it whatsoever, but it's very, very unnerving. All right, let's move on here because I got to review. I got to watch. I got to watch Dr. Sleep again tonight. So I can review that. So we gotta keep things chugging along. So I think you guys know what's going to be my numero uno demon possession movies of all time. Okay, I think you know. I think you know. And I was going to say let's end the suspense, but there's no suspense. You guys know it. You love it. It's The Exorcist. Yes. The Exorcist has gotten plenty of mention already in this episode, and deservedly fucking so. The Exorcist, man. It's this, again, like I said before, this isn't just a great horror movie. This is a great movie. Okay. This is part of the zeitgeist. It's part of our cultural. Cultural. Let me say that again. It's part of our culture. Okay. It was a cultural phenomenon back in 1973. I showed you the video earlier about, so 9/11. Okay, obviously 9/11. You're probably like, where the fuck are you going with this, man? 9/11. 9/11 was something that everybody knew about, right? Okay, so The Exorcist wasn't quite on that par as far as like top of mind, okay, but it was pretty damn close. I mean, it was, when I asked people that were old enough back then about this movie, because like I said, I was 2 years old back when this movie came out, so I can't say from experience. But when I asked people that were were aware enough back in 1973 of The Exorcist, that's what they tell me. They're like, yeah, this movie was that massive. Okay, not 9/11 massive, but in that same ballpark. Okay, as far as like top of mind, consciousness of thoughts, awareness. Okay. And everyone had to go see this movie. I mean, you thought Titanic in '97 was big. You thought Titanic was one of those movies where like, you got to go see this. Oh, okay. I'm going to go see it. I'm sick of like 27 people every day telling me to go see this Titanic movie. Like, The Exorcist sounds like it was even worse than that. It was exponentially even worse than that. It was just, again, it's just this the hype and the awareness around The Exorcist. And as you see here in the picture, you've got Linda Blair as Regan McNeil. And Linda Blair, amazingly enough, she did not go on to, a massive movie career after this. Okay. And it's just weird, right? It's weird because this is a movie that really put her name, into the minds of many people. Okay, I mean, people saw Linda Blair, and so she was not able to parlay this into just this massive movie career. And that might have been maybe just because maybe movie makers just kept seeing her as Regan, from The Exorcist, and they couldn't think of her for, when they came out with a movie, they wanted like a secret agent woman, or a plucky factory worker fighting against the man, like Norma Ray, Sally Field, Norma Ray, or or some of the Faye Dunaway in Network, as some anchor lady. So something that has nothing to do with being a demon possessed little girl. They probably they might not have even considered Linda Blair because they just couldn't get this image right here that we're looking at out of their head. Maybe that had something to do with it, or she just had a piss poor agent. Who knows? But yeah, so Linda Blair played Regan McNeil. We had Ellen Burstyn playing her mother, Chris. Max von Sydow as Father Marin. You had Jason Miller in this. Father Karras was his name. Lee J. Cobb played what was his name? I want to say Detective Kittredge or something like that. So, but yeah, so I'm not going to start naming off everybody because I'm not going to be able to name off everybody in this movie. But yeah, so you got Max von Sydow's Father Marin. This movie starts off with him in Iraq, and you're first introduced to the demon Pazuzu in the form of a statue, or he's got this little Pazuzu head he first, discovers, in some ancient ruins. We see like the big, Pazuzu statue in Iraq. And this movie it was genius in the fact that it starts out in Iraq. Okay. It starts off in this, it builds up the creepiness. Okay. For me, I don't know if it built the creepiness of this movie for you, because it starts off in Iraq and in this area of the world that is known for, biblical activity, biblical events, Mesopotamia. Right. And so that, and I think that the reason that it made it extra creepy for me is because I didn't see The Exorcist until I was probably like maybe not even quite a teenager, but maybe a bit before that. And by the time I saw The Exorcist, was sold to me as like, this is Satan the movie, okay? Satan the motion picture. Whatever you do, don't see this movie, because you're gonna watch this and like within 5 minutes of you seeing this movie, you're going to be demon possessed. You're going to be pissing your pants. You're going to be shitting yourself. It's so scary, so evil, so malevolent. Don't see that movie. That's how The Exorcist was sold to me, right? And so I went and I saw it. I can't remember where I saw it. And so I had that in my head when I went to go first see it. And so I just had this thought, like, this is the scariest movie of all time. This is going to be so scary. And so when it starts off in that, when the opening credits where it's in black and they have like the Muslim prayer, being sung, and you've got the red font, with William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist, a William Friedkin film. And it just, even in the opening credits were just creepy. Dear Sarge has a good point. I wonder if Linda Blair's career stalled while she was dating Rick James. Rick James, bitch! Probably doing a ton of coke, too. Might have had something to do with it. I mean, she might have just... Because, I mean, it's always been said, like, The Exorcist really fucked her up. I mean, because she was, like, 12, 13 years old when she starred in this movie, and they had to constantly put this makeup on, that you see here, and then put the contact lenses, and she always said, like, the contact lenses that she's wearing in this shot right here, obviously, as you would imagine, predictably, they hurt like hell, right? And so, yeah, I mean, just the filming of this, even though she was well aware it was a movie, just think of, like, just for a not fully developed brain of a 12-year-old having to just wrap their mind around this, okay? And then being a child star in Hollywood and all the bad actors in Hollywood that are more than willing to corrupt a young mind, with all like Rick James, basically, right? Like a Rick James would do, okay? Maybe one day he went up to Linda Blair. I'm Rick James, bitch. Here, have some blow. And she was like, I'm trying to get over this nightmare that was The Exorcist. It fucked my brain up. Okay, I'll do it. No problem. Give me some of that blow. Give me that, so maybe, Dear Sergeant, he wrote Cold-Blooded after she aborted his baby. So, Yeah, it's Linda Blair's life is definitely not dull. A lot of turbulence, a lot of sleazy, skeezy shit. Okay, so I mean, unlike Drew Barrymore, who had a sleazy, skeezy, childhood, from being a fucked up child. Let me get that right. Child Hollywood star. There we go. Say that 10 times real fast. Drew Barrymore made it out the other side and was a big star and all that stuff. Linda Blair, not so much. Okay. But back to the movie though. So, but Dear Sarge, appreciate that. Appreciate those tidbits of knowledge there. But so yeah, you get Reagan. She's playing with a Ouija board. Like I said before, stay away from Ouija boards. Okay, and she makes this childhood, what we're sold as a childhood friend or imaginary friend named Captain Howdy. Okay. And she says to her mother, Captain Howdy tells her things, and Captain Howdy's talking to her and all that stuff after playing with the Ouija board. Okay. And so then you start seeing signs like Reagan comes downstairs while her mother's throwing a dinner party and just pisses right there in front of everybody. And then you hear later on about how the director of the movie that Reagan's mother, Chris, is starring in, because Chris's mom is a famous Hollywood actress living in Georgetown where they're filming the movie. And the director of the movie she's starring in is brutally murdered. And you learn that his head was turned all the way around. Okay. And he was basically, he threw himself, or he was thrown out of Reagan's window down those stairs, that you see in the movie. Okay. And that obviously Father Karras dies on later on. So yeah, the director of the movie was killed that way, had his head turned all the way around and dies on those stairs. So you have her pissing, in front of everybody. That story of the murder, and other phenomenon. She starts ranting and raving in her bed and that kind of thing. And so things progressively get worse with Reagan. Her mother is rich. Okay, she's a rich, famous Hollywood actress. She's taking her daughter to all kinds of psychiatrists, medical doctors, that kind of thing, and just can't figure it out. And all the while, Reagan's getting worse and worse, and talking in a demon's voice and making shit move around and slapping psychiatrists and grabbing her nuts and doing all kinds of just unholy, depraved shit, and then eventually it just gets worse and worse until, she gets to where she's at right here. And eventually, her mother's like, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in demons. I don't believe in demon possession. And after she's exhausted all the science, all the medical options she has, all the earthly options, because I mean, she doesn't want to turn to the church. She doesn't want to even think about the religious aspect of it, because I think it's said like she's an atheist, or at least she's agnostic or something like that. But eventually, after all these doctors can't tell her what the fuck's going on with their kids or with her kid, and the psychiatrists have no idea what's going on either, then she's like, okay, I gotta go to the religion route. I gotta try to get gotta go to a priest and get some priests involved. Eventually that ends up with Father Marin and Father Karras showing up to exercise, and you see them show up, like right here.
The patriarchy compels you. The patriarchy compels you.
So yeah, you get them, showing up there after she's exhausted the quote unquote logical options there to cure her daughter. And so I mean, so just all along that movie, just the change from this sweet little girl to this horrid, disgusting, grotesque, scary ass looking thing that's laying in her bed that they have to restrain, and she's puking up green pea puke and her green pea soup puke, and her head's twisting around. She's shoving a fucking crucifix in her nether regions and all kinds of shit. I mean, it's just weird. She's slapping her mother around, and almost dropping a dresser on her, and just nuts. Okay, that's fucking scary ass shit, right? And so just imagine yourself as a moviegoer back in the 70s where you've never, ever, ever seen anything like this before. Or even if, especially if like you're a kid back in the 70s, right? And someone snuck you into that movie, okay? Or a few years later and you saw it on HBO or something like that. I mean, yowzas, okay? Yeah, it's nuts, okay? And that is why, The Exorcist is my number one movie on my top 5 demon possession list. So yeah, it's many people have watched this numerous times, and I've watched this movie so many times again because it's part of not because of this, but you have to acknowledge it's part of Americana. It's part of our zeitgeist. So that has been my top 5 demon possession movies, everybody. So yes, appreciate your kind attention to that. All right, so let's check to see if we got any live chats here in YouTube or Rumble. And nope. All right, we are all caught up. All right, okay, so let's move on to basically me explaining to you all about Movies America Mad Libs here. And so let me get that up here. Let's do this. tdpn.locals.com. Let's get there. You're all at the mercy of my internet connection here, I'm afraid. Okay. And I wanted to tell you about this because this is it's a fun opportunity for you guys, okay? But it does bear a explanation faux show, okay? So yeah, as you see here, I got Movies America Mad Libs, and this is on tdpn.locals.com. Again, that's our website for the Till Death Podcast Network. And Movies America Mad Libs, what is it? Okay. Well, so it is your chance to flex your creative muscles in the form of writing lines for a hilarious script, okay? A hilarious movie script. And so Mad Libs, where's the Mad Libs part come into? Well, Mad Libs, remember, Mad Libs were, when you were a kid, you got the little tablet, little Mad Libs, like all the paragraphs right in there with missing words. And you could fill in the words to create your own funny story, And it was fun. It was a good time, right? And they came out with just a ton of Mad Libs, pamphlets, whatever, right? Little Mad Libs books, we'll call it that you can, with all these different stories in there that you can fill in the words in and write your own stories. That's the Mad Libs part, right? Well, this is the Movies America flavor of Mad Libs. And as you see right here, we've got our Movies America Mad Libs Scene 2. And what it is, and this is just the explanation for basically that I'm giving you right now, okay? But it's your chance to write lines for the characters in this movie script, okay? And the movie characters are down here. Oh, we got to hit the read more. So here's our characters. Got Holstrom Hennessy, Patsy Penicillin, and Nigel Nightworm. And I'm not going to read these. You guys can read through these yourself. Now, you have to be a tdpn.locals.com premium member to see all this and read through all this stuff here. But again, like I said earlier, you can go in there and you can put in promo code TDPN to get 1 free month of being a tdpn.locals.com premium member. And so you can read through the characters here because obviously if you're going to write a movie script's got to have characters. So real quick, I'll just read through like just the top parts of these characters. So you got Holstrom Hennessy. He's a 54-year-old, hard as nails, blabbermouth, balding hitman who carries weaponry and a spare tire from too many Guinnesses and has a scar from a hit gone wrong. Patsy Penicillin, she's a frumpy, bleach blonde, 58-year-old hairdresser / whore with the face of a well-used baseball mitt who makes a champagne room out of wherever she's at. And then lastly, we got Nigel Nightworm, who is a not-so-bright, bone-thin, British 59-year-old with long gray hair who was a once promising punk rocker who even had Rolling Stone magazine interview him. So those are our characters that we're dealing with, and obviously there's more to read about our three characters. And then what I do for you is I write the first few lines for the characters right here to kind of give you an idea of what kind of story we're going for. And so then you can read over that. And then what you can do is you can write the next lines. Okay. And so you see here, Patsy, her last line is, "This is so exciting. It's not every day you get to meet." And then that's where you come in. You write who she meets. Okay. And so how do you do that? Well, come down here to the comments right there. So you click on the comments icon. Okay. And that should open up the comments section here shortly. Maybe. Let's click on that. Keep clicking on it till it opens up. There we go. So I love that internet connection. Okay. So right here we have our comment section right here. And then literally you can just come in here and you just start typing. You can type in. And there we go. Well, Patsy's going to be the first one because you have to write who you guys are going to meet. So and we're meeting. We're meeting Jonah Hill. There we go, Jonah Hill. Okay, and then you can put in the next line and oops. See, you guys are seeing my excellent typing. So you see what I'm talking about. So then you write a line for Nigel, yada yada yada. Okay, so you can keep on writing lines for each of the characters. Okay, but write one line for each character. Okay, so because they're having a conversation, that's how it's working. Okay, and so then so right here in the comment box, you see that it's got a character limit of 3,000. Well, if you run out of room, don't worry. Just go ahead and just create another comment down here, right there. So I'm going to back out of here. And you just create a whole nother comment. Just write the rest of your lines right there. Okay. So you can go crazy. Okay. Now the really fun part is me and Ian and Sean, we have to play the characters. Okay. And we have to play the characters, and we have to read the lines you write. Okay. And we have to read them live on this show on an upcoming episode of Movies Merica Spoiler Warning. Okay. And so we're going to read through your contributions here, and we're going to decide which one's the best one. Okay. So it's a competition, folks. Okay. So get in there and write those lines and do your worst. Okay. Get as depraved as you want. Again, keep in mind, I have to read them. Ian's got to read them. Sean's got to read them, and we each have to play a character. And we already did scene 1, and I had to play Patsy Penicillin. So lucky me. Yeah. So go ahead and get in there. tdpn.locals.com. Check it out. Just it's pinned up to the very top of the website, so you can't miss it. And have some fun, man. Have some fun. It's good time. All right, so that is Movies Merica Mad Libs. Yeah, get it. Don't be shy. Have fun. Okay, it doesn't take you long. Just long enough to show us your depraved, sick imagination. Or it could be some wholesome thing too. Doesn't have to be depraved. Dear Sarge says, I finally saw The Exorcist after seeing The Omen. Made this look lightweight, even though cutting edge in 1973. I mean, in The Omen's another great horror movie. Not really a demon possession movie, but it's definitely a great horror movie. I mean, obviously about Damien, the Antichrist. So, yeah. And The Omen's another movie that scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. I was a much too young kid when I saw The Omen. And then The Omen, Omen 2, Damien, The Omen Part 2, fantastic movie as well. Even Omen 3 with The Final Option or whatever the fuck it was called. It had some good moments in it as well. All right. So yeah, excellent contribution, dear Sarge. Appreciate that. Okay, so let's check out. All right. We are going to wrap this up, everybody. All right, because like I said, I've got some Dr. Sleep to watch here. And so we're going to wrap this up by me telling you about some great locations for you to go. Okay. And the first one is moviesmerica.com. And what is there? Well, that is where you can check out the audio-only versions of my spoiler-free episodes, the spoiler-free review episodes. And moviesmerica.com, that's not the only place you can check out the audio-only versions. You can go to like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere you can think of where you can find podcasts, okay? All right, moving on. I am also on X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram under @MoviesAmerica. And I'm also on Gab, everybody. I'm on Gab, so look for me on Gab. Please follow me on Gab, and I will follow you back. If you follow me on Gab, I'm going to follow you back. And I'm under @MoviesAmerica on Gab, okay? And I'm also on Facebook as well if you want to look me up there under Movies America. All right. And I'm also under Van Ebert on Facebook if you want to follow me there as well. Definitely want to see you guys on social medias. Moving on, tdpn.locals.com. Just explain that to you. So I'm going to kind of breeze right past that. And we've got our merch store, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Got our merch store down in the description. The link to the merch store is down there. And you can get yourself some great Till Death Podcast Network related merch. Get yourself a Movies America t-shirt or Movies America phone case or Movies America yoga pants or, Movies America communion glass. Well, maybe not Movies America communion glasses, but maybe someday. Movies America Abrams tank. Yeah, don't have those either yet. So hope, wish. Maybe someday we'll have that on the menu. But remember, everybody, got Kwanzaa coming up here pretty soon. Kwanzaa, Festivus, Christmas, Hanukkah, all coming up, man. It's never too early to get that Christmas shopping started, and you can do that in the merch store down below, okay? And there's merch for other shows on the Till Death Podcast Network as well. All right, moving on. We've got to @Till Death Network, solo.to/Till Death Pod Network. And that's where you can go to find links that have anything to do with the Till Death Podcast Network, okay? So if you want to go there and make that a favorite, where you can go and man, where can I go to get to join the Movies America episodes really, really easily? Oh, I can just go here at Till Death Network, solo.to/Till Death Pod Network. And it's right there. Or we're gonna get the link to the Whiskey Capitalist podcast or Sipping with Sean. Well, there you go. This is the location down below to go to get all the links to that. Moving on, we got solo.to/Till Death Studios. And that's where you'll go if, hey, you're a content creator like myself or Ian or Sean, or We Are the Show or Darth Jason or others, Professor Savage Dad, others I'm sure I'm missing in the live chat, regrettably. If you're a content creator like us and you want to spiffy up your show or, spruce up your show with some cool shit like the overlay up at the very top or the background that you're seeing right there, that hurts my arm, or the intro that you saw earlier. If you want to, the intro that you saw earlier in the show, if you want to enhance your content with things like that, well, hey, my man Ian can hook you up with some great stuff like that. And the way to get the ball rolling on that is going to solo.to/Till Death Studios, and he'll work his magic for you. Okay. Moving on to solo.to/I'm Sean Cav, and that's where you can find all the links that have to do with all of Sean Cav's fantastic contributions to the Till Death Podcast Network, like his Sipping with Sean show that he does every other Friday. I'm sure you're going to find some links to his fantastic musical endeavors. He's he slaps that bass. All right, he's slapping the bass. He's got links to his gigs that he plays in, that kind of thing. All right, so yeah, go to solo.to/I'm Sean Cav to make sure you don't miss out on anything that Sean's got going on in the world of the Till Death Podcast Network. All right, and then moving on along, we got the solo.to/The Whiskey Capitalist, and that's where you can see all the links that have to do with the Whiskey Capitalist podcast that you guys check out every Monday and Wednesday nights at 7 Central my time, so 8 Eastern there. And check check out the Whiskey Capitalist podcast for like they've got great commentary on politics and the hot button issues of the day and funnies, and they got great guests there. They just had Viva Fry on last week. All kinds of great guests there. So, so we're going to move on here to last but not least, solo.to/Till Death Podcast. And again, that's the one-stop shop for all links that have to do with the Till Death Podcast. And that's the show that Ian and his lovely wife, Jen, do every other Saturday afternoon, where they talk about the hot button topics of the day and politics and just curiosities of the world from the husband and wife perspective, okay? And they have funnies on there as well. And it's just kind of fun, just kind of checking out their husband and wife dynamic and just, how they play off each other and the chemistry. So, yeah, check out the Till Death Podcast show every other Saturday. And if you want to know when it is, how you can join and check it out, solo.to/Till Death Podcast, everybody. All right, we're going to close that down. We're going to close the shop down on all of that, everybody. All right, so let's check out the live chat here in Rumble. And Dear Sarge says, that flying sheet of glass fucked me up as a youth. Yes, the Utes. The Utes definitely, and a lot of adults probably got definitely fucked up with a flying sheet of glass. And that was at the end of, towards the end of the very first Omen movie there, if I could get that out. And yeah, poor David Warner. And David Warner, you might know him as he was the security guy to Billy Zane in Titanic. The asshole guy that punched Leo DiCaprio in the gut, courtesy of Mr. Loxley or Calvin Loxley or whatever the fuck the guy's name was. Okay, a lot of people also know David Warner. He was like the evil guy in Time Bandits and a bunch of other movies. But yeah, David Warner didn't end up too well for him towards the end of The Omen, thanks to a sheet of glass. So yep, great mention there, Dear Sarge. All right, so we're gonna get out of here, people. We're gonna get out of here, but I just want to thank you guys again for joining me. And again, hey, like this episode, okay, and follow this channel. Follow Movies Merica on Rumble, and then you can find me on YouTube as well under Till Death Podcast Network on YouTube. Follow me again on Gab at Movies Merica. On X, on Facebook, on Instagram, again, all under Movies Merica. All right. And hey, share this with any friends and family, even if you even remotely think like you're not sure, but if you even remotely suspect that they might like this, check this out. And also get in the comments section down below. I want to hear from you in the comments. You may be watching this right now and going, what the fuck was he talking about? I'm going to comment. Well, I want to hear from you. Comment in there, or let me know of a movie that you want me to review, or your favorite demon possession movie, that kind of thing. If you're watching this after the fact, or your favorite horror movie, whatever. I want to hear from you in the comments down below. All right. All right. Dear Sarge, no shit. David Warner was in that? Yep. Yeah, David Warner was in Titanic. You bet. And yeah, check me out on Gab. And check Unfolding Joker on Gab. Like a lot of the folks that you're seeing here in the live chat, they're on Gab. Go follow them on Gab. So a lot of them follow me on Gab. So if you follow me, you'll find them and you can follow them and see how that works. We're creating a network, everybody, on Gab. All right. And Dear Sirs, we'll pass you around like a 40 ouncer on a street corner. 40. I'm going to drink my 40 out 8. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Audi. Yes. Salute to you there, Unfolding Joker. Yeah, you bet. All right, with that, everybody, get out there, people. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. See ya.
everybody. Hey! I got the police after me. They're coming after me, okay? But I got just enough time to ask you. Just like this video, if you would, and then subscribe to this channel, okay? I'm gonna be in handcuffs pretty soon. I gotta tell you. Hey, so before they haul me off, make sure you watch these videos over here, okay? And thanks for watching this video and the Till Death Podcast Network, okay? I gotta go.